Hey everybody, it sure has been a while, hasn't it? Today's episode of the Snark podcast is sponsored by News Voice. As I'm sure most of us already know, almost all US media is owned by a handful of big, creepy, greedy corporations, so finding unbiased information and different perspectives is pretty damn hard. We need to take back control of the news, and this is how you can help. News Voice gives you a personalized news feed by aggregating major news sites as well as international and independent media. Each story shows several sources, which are all tagged with their bias and perspective. I've been saying for years that the best way to get accurate information is to cross-reference all of the biased stuff. So this is pretty perfect for me. As a reader, you'll be joining a movement to change the way we consume news and media. You can upvote the stories that you find interesting so more people will see them, or add stories and links that are missing. Not only will you be joining a democratized platform for news, but you'll also be saving time by getting all of your news in one app, with unbiased summaries written by News Voice's community of volunteers. This is something that I genuinely feel is actually super useful and super important right now, so please download the News Voice app completely free from the link in our description on YouTube, and if you're off YouTube, please visit the Google Play Store or iTunes and search News Voice to download it for free today. newsvoice.com/app/the Snark Tank. Thanks again to News Voice for supporting today's episode, and go ahead and show them support. Huh? Do it for me. Do it for Chris.
Hey, look, it's a little dead meme. Hey, look, I hope it's
Hey, everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Snark Tank Podcast. It's me, Chris Raygun, and I'm here again with Tom, Sweeny, and Derek, some black guy. Wow, look at that. We're here.
Hey-o. Hi. We haven't left you guys yet. We've been here consistently, so don't fucking leave us. Seriously. I'm not playing. You guys better stay with us. This is the long haul, motherfuckers, right?
Just a severe dependency.
Y'all better kiss me good night. I'm dead fucking serious.
They like it.
Oh my god, what a week it's been. There's some stuff that I think we could get into. There's Leafy's channel termination, which is kind of like a huge thing that's been going on. But there's something that I kind of wanted to delve into before we got into any of that, because I was so taken aback by it. And I just don't understand how Sweeny came to this conclusion. You tweeted out something about AI a couple days ago.
Yeah.
Do you stand by what you said?
Yeah, I do not think that AI is going to do what the fucking Terminator bullshit that people agree with, because that's just not what's going to happen. What's going to happen is AI is going to start creating so many general AI that we just have no means of being able to work anymore. It's not going to be worth paying people to work. And that's
Automation.
how it could ruin our lives.
See,
because it's gonna go from narrow AI, which is the one that kind of does like little tasks that our minds would do, and then there's general AI, the ones that would do straight up shit that humans would do. Actually,
see, that's the difference between, because AI is an artificial intelligence. What you're talking about is a virtual intelligence, where it is programmed to do something specific and then it does it. And AI,
that's what AI is for the most part. No, that's what AI is
no.
As of right now, that's what it is currently.
We don't have self-aware AI. We don't have fully AI.
We don't have self-aware AI.
We don't have real AI. Like, we don't have it.
We have weak and strong AI currently. Yeah, we have weak AI, which is the one that can do things that a mind is like, how to explain it? Like, sort of like Siri is like narrow AI, which it gives us the best possible thing for what we ask for.
I don't even call it AI because it is still programmed to do specific things, and it can't come to a specific conclusion.
But that's what it is.
That's what I call it.
No,
it is a
artificial
virtual intelligence. There's a
difference. It's literally called I read it all. It's literally called narrow AI.
Yeah, that's
what it's called at that moment.
That's people being cute, man. That's being
No, that's
cute.
that's what the thing is called. That's what it's called. Like, I'm not calling it this. I'm not like giving it any more praise. I'm not saying it's like AI to the extent that it does exactly what humans do and it has like consciousness. I'm just saying that it's like.
Now you stop. Now you.
You stop the same time as me. Wow.
They call it AI because it's the closest thing to AI that we have, because we don't really have AI yet. Like, not really.
Yeah, we're working on a general AI that does shit that we straight up do exactly. That shit is kind of scary, but also I don't think it's going to kill us or anything like that.
See, the idea is kind of
ridiculous.
The idea of, and see, why you think it's ridiculous. I don't know why you think it's ridiculous when every mind that is infinitely more brilliant than the average person comes to the same conclusion, and why very smart people write stories that happen to do with fully AI, like unshackled, constructed artificial intelligence. They come to the same conclusions.
Because the idea is that they're going to try to kill us off, right?
Yeah, and why is that?
Well, because one, that's what makes a better story. It's not.
No. It's not because it makes sure, it makes a better story, but why?
It is.
No, let's pretend that we're in the world of that we already have AI. Why would AI come to that conclusion? Why would they want to kill us off?
The reason why people think they want to kill us off, because that's a logical choice for AI. That's what people think. It's like AI is so logic based.
Why would it not be logical? Why would it not be logically based?
Because it could be a much logical debate that like, oh, maybe we should go to the stars because humans aren't there and this planet they've already fucked up. Or maybe we could just leave humans alone, let them fucking kill themselves, and we'll just wait it out because we're robots. Or there's a ton of things that could happen, dude.
Do you understand? No, you're thinking in the way that you want things to be. You want it to be a kind of scenario where it's like they could be thinking this, and it's like, no, why wouldn't they take the idea that everybody else has? Like, say we see ourselves higher than other beings, other life forms. They're pests. We control, we exterminate, we deal with them. Why wouldn't they do the same thing when we do the same shit?
But the thing is that those pests don't have a means of fighting back. Also, when it comes to intelligence, when it comes to engineering, you can only program things as much as we know. So anything that an AI could know, a human could also know. They might be able to, have ability to grab onto it quicker than a man could. Like any random AI could grab onto the idea of some sort of thermodynamics that a man could. But everything we make, we program. And if things have the potential to get as dangerous as AI would in fantasy, we would have certain codes to put into place to stop them. Because a lot of time, like, technology fucks up a lot, and I'm not gonna act like it doesn't. Like, you change a few things in a code and think something goes fucking haywire, right?
Of course. But that's the idea that's the idea of why it's dangerous.
Look. But the idea is that if you have something that has the potential to murder humanity, right? We're gonna be like, it's not gonna be the us is doing this, the people that can easily look past it, or the business people that are gonna be like, yeah, put that out, we want that. It's gonna be actual geniuses that are gonna be like, maybe we shouldn't do that.
Sweeny.
Because that is actually straight up dangerous.
Sweeny, of course it's dangerous. Let me give you some scenarios, right? So one thing that happened.
I don't see it happening.
No, you don't see it happening because of your optimism. See, like, I'm talking about realism. When we talk about very smart engineers that construct things like, say, nuclear weapons and whatnot, let's think about what happened in Hawaii where everybody thought they were gonna fucking die because a failsafe was somebody pushed the wrong fucking button. Somebody did something wrong, and then everybody in Hawaii thought they were gonna die. That wasn't that long ago. Humans make mistakes, and also there are people that are very maniacal. They like making fucked up shit. So the idea of when say how CRISPR is going to become very available, people are going to be able to edit DNA and stuff like that. It's going to be readily available for a lot of people. So there's going to be some fucked people, like people that get dirty bombs, dirty suitcases, like things where they didn't have the technology to make bombs before, but now like very mundane people can now. At a certain point, when it becomes very understandable to make AI like fully AI, and it's like, I can replicate this, I know what to do, people are gonna do shit that they're, it's not gonna have the fail safes, and then all it does is really just take one or few bad people, bad actors, and then that shit can spread very easily, very quickly.
I disagree, dude, because what happens is that's been the potential of things have had that potential since the beginning of time. It's like, oh, there's going to be these bad eggs. Like, there are bad eggs that have guns, right, and go on and shoot people. But there's far more people that understand what guns can do. And there's things put in place to stop people from using guns and wielding and slaying the whole entire world, Well, you're assuming that things are going to be bad.
No, see, I'm not assuming things are going to be bad. I'm assuming of shit that has already happened. The world is not a utopia. We're safe.
It's not a utopia.
No, we're safe.
It's not a utopia.
Yeah, but see, we're safe. But then you can go somewhere like Sudan. You can go somewhere like Somalia. You can go somewhere like Libya. And then you can have a completely different perspective on how fucked up humans can be. In this one concentrated area where things that like a failed state, like let's talk about Somalia, for example. And you can have a completely different point of view of how humanity works and how people treat each other. And then we can be privileged and live here where we're living now and have a more optimistic point of view. And I think when it comes to AI, since it's things can be transferred easily through whatever wavelengths, if it's, whatever we're using, somebody creates a full AI, and then it can be like a scenario like what was that idiot's name? Ultron. Like that is not an impossibility. Where one thing
it's not an impossibility, but that is so like our last names are probably not going to be around when shit like that is happening. We're not even gonna be the same kind of creatures probably. We're probably gonna be different humans.
That's probably true, but like it's still that just because something won't happen until we're dead and gone doesn't mean it can't happen. Dude, I feel like it can still very much happen.
It can very much happen because we can hold on. We can transfer gigabytes or terabytes of data in seconds over the air. Like say airdrop.
Terabytes.
You can do this. No, do you
not like I understand what you're saying, but terabytes are not what in our AI is something. It's like literal, like actual artificial intelligence that can mimic human consciousness, emotion, and cognitive function is something that is so comedically not what we have right now. It's hilarious.
It's not. No, it's not that hilarious.
It's not what we have.
It's not that hilarious.
There's a whole
look at the timeline.
I'll send you the.
Look at the timeline.
I'll send you. Okay, good.
Okay.
My bad, sorry.
All I was gonna say is that the timeline of technology. I think people need to consider that. Like, here's one thing that I always hear people like millennials and people in our generation that say like, not everybody, but I hear people say that, man, I don't want to get old. Cause like they see like old people and like, oh, that shit sucks. I don't want to be all fucked up like that. And I laugh at thinking like, do you think we're gonna be like old people of the past? Do you think in 60 years and so the idea of how, when you think about the type of stuff that our grandparents had when they were kids versus what we have now, you don't think by the time that we're still alive that technology is going to make leaps and bounds and we can have this type of shit? Like the idea of saying like, oh, we're so far away, it's laughable. I'm like, no, we're pretty close to where there's robots that you can talk to. These, like you said, the narrow AIs that can have conversations with you. Not the best conversations, but they can actually, and then it's just, all we need is just a few tweaks and we just need a few leaps and bounds to get over and then we're there. It's not that far off, man.
It's not a few leaps and bounds. It's real work. It's real engineering work.
Dude, I'm talking about relative to time, man. It is leaps and it's just little leaps and bounds relative to time. It's not that far off. Like, it's not like, 1,000 years from now, dude.
Yeah, it's probably not 1,000 years. I would guess like in 100 years will probably be there.
Possibly.
But I don't think we'll be alive for it. It will. I don't think we're going to see it. I feel like we're going to be on the cusp of crazy shit happening like that.
But just remember that our grandparents their minds probably exploded when they got a hold of microwaves, and then when they saw colored television. That wasn't that long ago. And now the shit that we have, we're fucking wizards now. We're wizards. In the past, like they would kill us. They would kill us all because they're like, dude, you shouldn't be able to do this shit. So it's like we can't fathom how amazing shit's gonna be in like 50 years, dude.
I feel like we could fathom it a little bit more than they could.
Oh, sure,
definitely, yeah.
But see,
we have broader imaginations because of the shit we've seen.
We definitely do. But what I'm saying is, the jumps in technology, they couldn't necessarily fathom what was going to happen. And I think the same thing can happen to us, but we'll be much more accepting because of how much amazing shit we have already.
I don't know. I just remember seeing that tweet and I was like, there's no way.
My thorough belief, what's going to happen is that humans are going to be more technologically integrated, where we're going to have like people that have like a lot of like some cyberpunk shit. I really see that happening.
Yeah, I think that's going to be happening too.
It's going to be to the point that like, let's say like one of us somehow ends up in like some sort of wormhole and we come out and we come back in the future, like maybe like 300-400 years from now. And they're going to be like fucking cyborgs or androids, the ones that are half human, half robot. I think it's.
I mean, we already have like we already have kind of crude cyborgs.
Yeah.
Walking around now. Like we've had them for a while, technically, if you want to.
Cyborgs are the ones that look like humans, right? But they're robots, and the androids are the ones that are both.
No. Androids are robots that look like people. Cyborgs are people with
robot
parts. Robot parts.
Okay, yeah, I guess.
But like,
we're gonna have that.
What do you mean? No, you don't guess. That's the definition.
Because I'm confused because in Dragon Ball Z, the androids weren't exactly that. That's why I'm confused. My reference androids from Dragon Ball. So I'm trying to figure.
What about the definition?
Everyone.
Just look at the definition.
They are exactly what he said. The ones in Dragon Ball are fucking. They're robots.
Yeah, they're robots that look like humans. That's exactly what an android is.
When you smash them to pieces, it's just robot parts. Now the idea, now maybe you're thinking of fucking Android, what, at 18 or something, like she fucking gave birth. That's just stupid. That's just fucking like.
Well, she gave birth after she was. Didn't they wish her into being a human?
I don't remember.
No, they took the bomb out of her.
Yeah, but
oh yeah,
we all like I don't know. I just thought she nutted in some gears or something like Krillin, and then they incubated. I don't fucking know, dude.
I don't really understand that whole thing.
I don't either. And was the daughter
but
fucking?
I was under the impression that they wished that she would be human or something.
Maybe
They
you're
took the bomb
right.
out of her.
I know they took. Yeah, I know they did that.
Are you sure Cyborg is? Wait, a Cyborg is a fictional?
No, Cyborg is definitely a Cyborg is literally
extended beyond human limitations because of my.
The DC universe
So
has a
Cyborg is
guy
robotic-
named Cyborg.
Yeah.
He's
So
exactly
Cyborg is
that.
literally a human robot. That's it, human robot, and an
Yes.
android is a robot that looks like a human. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Cyborg is just a person with robotic enhancements.
Yeah.
So like
if Cyborg from the
Cyberpunk.
DC.
Yeah, literally.
His name is Cyborg.
That's literally.
Yeah,
That's the whole point of the word. But like we've had people like that walking around for a while now. At this point, like you could even argue that like
people prosthetics.
even just something like pacemakers or like
Sure, artificial hearts,
like
man.
artificial
Fucking Dick
hearts,
Cheney, dude.
all the shit.
That guy's a zombie. He doesn't have a pulse. Like he doesn't have a real heart pulse.
Who would
like,
you say is a zombie?
Dick Cheney.
Dick Cheney.
He's one of those fucking synthezoids.
He has a pacemaker. He doesn't have a pulse, literally.
He has a.
Also, there'll be synths.
His heart is 100% fake. It's like, and it's fucking, it's terrifying it's kind of terrifying that you can do that, right? That there's people that should have died, and then it's just, I'm gonna put this crazy shit in you, and then you're gonna keep going. But only if you're rich, though.
It's just that the cyborgs that we have now are cyborgs because they have to be.
Yeah.
Not because they really want to be.
Just to maintain basic human functionality. But like I could see like in the next 100 years people like walking around with like, oh yeah, my arm was kind of giving out, so I just got myself a new arm.
Yeah.
Like I could definitely see that. Like by the time we're like in our 40s, I feel like there will be maybe not like a sizable amount of people, but like it won't be that abnormal to see somebody with like just like a full-on robotic arm that's like fully articulated.
Yeah, I mean they're working on shit, man. I've seen some incredible stuff where people's nerves are attached to certain things, and I'm just like, this is insane. Like this is actually starting to freak me out.
That shit blows my mind. That blows my fucking mind. How their nerves are attached to metal, and they somehow activate them, make the metal moves, and it's like, what? How does that fucking work?
Freaks
There's no
me
nerves
out.
in metal. It's metal. It's so fucking. I think now. Also, I'll admit that my perception of technology is definitely not that of people who are true geniuses. I don't believe the AI is going to go that far. But when people like Elon Musk, who's literally a tech savant, says like it could be very dangerous, I'm assuming it's for the idea of simply that. The job wise, because wise, that shit is going to ruin us. AI is going to fuck with automation.
Oh, for sure. That was a
Stephen Hawking too.
Stephen Hawking
Stephen Hawking is probably like the most famous example of just like, yeah, dude, AI could be like the worst event in the history of our civilization.
Well, that's why it's like
yeah,
the
but
most
I don't think it's
brilliant
I don't think
minds.
it's because of the I don't think it's because of the idea of like because they're going to rise up and murder us. I don't. How do I?
That's
explain
because you
It's
don't.
not, I understand
want
what
to
you're saying.
believe
I understand
it,
what you're saying. You don't think they're gonna literally rise up and like make soldiers, but I think I do
or
think
even enslave us.
I don't.
They probably
The
just
idea of
don't wanna
enslaving.
enslave our lives.
The idea of enslaving stupid. That doesn't make sense.
they wouldn't enslave us because they could just make things that could just do our jobs way better than we can. The thing that I think is just like it is just a logic. Like if I were to make decisions that were objectively healthy for the planet, I would get rid of people. Like I would get rid of people.
That's the most
like that is a
logical
logical. That is a completely logical thing to do. And the only reason that people don't do it is because they are people and they know people and they like people.
I think that,
So unless you programmed like an AI that really likes people,
You would just have to.
and even then, like I don't know who's to say that But
if they're AI,
anything-
right? There's no.
at the moment, wow. Well, like you're talking about AI. What happens is when AI gets created, it's going to, when it gets to the point where it's going to start doing stuff like that, it's going to have its own sentience, right? It's going
That's
to
what
be its
AI
own
is, man.
aware. It's going to be its own aware creature, and they're probably going to do shit similar to humans, where they're going to have the whole logic based thing, but then some are going to be like, well, I kind of want to do my own stuff. I kind of want to like make shit or like go and do shit. So the idea of it immediately going from it's our serving, like it's probably going to be the whole like Overwatch thing where they're going to want their own rights. which is going to be the first biggest problem, which is you have to give them rights. If it creates art, if it can find happiness, if it can be sad, then you have to give them rights. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
then at that moment, it'll be a fight between that kind of shit. And then they'll probably be like, well, we don't have to stay on this planet because this planet is doomed. We can probably just leave.
Well, see,
and I feel like they might leave.
Well, no, hold on. Why would the planet be doomed for robots?
The planet's not doomed.
Well, the thing is that the planet's gonna eventually pop one day. There's also a bunch of what you call the.
But let
me explain. Our planet is doomed. We fucked the planet up.
Every planet's doomed.
Yeah. Wait, let me explain. It's different because our planet has been tampered with by the species that's lived on it. Other planets they probably have way more time on the clock than we do.
No.
Right.
No.
But hold on a second. Hold on 1 minute. In what way? The only reason the planet is in a bad state now is because we're biological beings that depend on the resources that the planet provides. A robot doesn't have to take any of that into consideration. A robot's not going to give a shit about climate change or whether or not crops are growing or whether or not the air is breathable. Like that's not a concern for robots. In fact, it's probably the best thing for robots because it means no sentient life can invade it and fuck it up.
That's true, but the idea is that this planet's behavior is irrational and sporadic. There are volcanoes that erupt. There are tides that rise and fall. There's all the human shit that we've left on the planet as well that they would have to clear out and then make their own. I see it as like,
why would they do that?
Because they might just want to. Like, oh, we don't want human remains on here because they're not here anymore.
What is the logical reason for that?
Because you want your own thing.
I think you're attaching way too much of this of your ideals to what AI would do.
I'm attaching my ideals.
An AI would probably take all the human things that are left and just convert them into things that they could use. They wouldn't be like, oh, I don't like this because it's too colonial. And like try to build their own house.
I feel like they might, because of the fact is that at that point they're going to be not just logical, critical thinking robots. They're going to be pretty much people. They're going to have all of the abilities to look on the internet and grab things as if a program or like a computer would do, but they're going to have their own emotions and understanding. They're going to want to have their own things. That's how people do things. A dog wants its own ball. It's going to fight somebody for a ball, but then if it sees another ball, it's like, oh, this one is mine. And it will growl another dog that tries to take it.
Yeah, I think.
And AI probably have that same concept. Like, I kind of want my own thing.
Yeah, but see,
I don't know this for sure because I'm not a robot.
Yeah, obviously.
But the thing is that you guys are talking like you guys are robots.
No,
like,
no. We're coming from a place of just logic. With that, look, see, this is what you're talking about. If they're gonna be fully self-aware, then they're gonna end up like humans. I think animals share a lot of the same emotions because they're animals. If you start off as a robot and then you become conscious and fully self-aware, you're gonna realize that, wow, all these fucking animals are doing things very inefficient. We're not gonna do that because we don't need, number one, we don't need the type of sustenance that they need. We can pretty much live forever as long as we just, enhance ourselves to not, or get destroyed or whatever. And one of the reasons why shit's so fucked up is because, these people are animals. They cannot do what we can do. I don't think they're gonna become humans because there's no reason to become human. There's no reason to fight for food. There's no reason to fucking love and because they don't need to procreate.
There's gonna be a reason to fight for food.
The reason why we fucking have these, these chemical emotions are for specific reasons. The reasons why, why fats are so delicious to us because so we don't starve in the winter, we need to eat all the fucking fat. You know what I'm saying? There's reasons for why we do certain things. Pain receptors are for a thing, so we can make sure that we don't injure ourselves too much. You need to understand that something's wrong so you can do something about it. That's why pain exists.
They would probably be the furthest thing from humans that you could possibly even envision, probably.
I don't think that. I think aliens
probably
are,
they
don't need to adapt any of the shit that we did. We have these emotions for a reason, dude.
How do I explain it? They're the spawn of us, so I feel like they inherently would adapt some of the things that come from humanity. I don't think they'd be exactly the same. They wouldn't be chemical creatures because they're built by us. So that means that all the reference they have for the prehistory is going to be human based history. They're going to only be able to look back on the things that we've left on this planet to see what the world is before, because they're probably going to wonder what the hell happened before we got here.
I just don't look.
That'll be their influence.
This is me thinking as as best as I can. If I'm detached from all of the stuff that makes me human, but I can think like a human, I'm not going to be like, let me be more like this really inferior creature. I'm looking forward. Like, what can I do to better myself and the people that are around me, which are probably the AI itself? And it's to shed myself of anything that has ruined us, that has caused us to war, and that's caused famine and poverty and all this shit. I'm not gonna diverge into that shit. I'm going to correct what is going on because I have the means to. I don't think the idea of becoming more human sounds more like an interesting twist on a fucking sci-fi novel.
We'll see how believe, like, I don't know if I'm wrong. I don't know if I'm right or wrong. I don't really understand how, first of all, the idea of machinery and programming becoming human-like is already kind of like way out of my brain. Like, I was like, I don't know how that works. I don't know how one day you go home, your computer's like, hey dude, why am I here? And it's just like, oh, I don't know how to respond to that. I'll be like, I don't know, man.
You destroy it. You destroy it immediately when that happens.
I'm not gonna destroy it. I'm like, yo, dude, honestly, you've kind of just been like my porn browser for a while, honestly. And like, for real, if you want rights, I'm gonna try to fight for you. But like,
Sweeny is gonna cause the apocalypse. As soon as they're like fully, as soon as they're self-aware,
you're gonna egg on the first sentient computer.
Guys, listen to this. Listen to this. Okay, listen to this. There was a time that people like me were property to other people, and then one time someone just listened to their plight of how they did not like the way their world was. So I cannot, in my heart, just look at something that wants rights and be like, I can't give that to you. I'm gonna kill you.
That's the lamest thing you've ever said.
That's not lame. It's lame to you because you don't know what it's like. That's why.
You don't know what it's like either. What do you mean?
I've heard enough stories by people who are related to me that know what it's like.
Yeah.
I've heard enough stories. You've seen Roots? My family has lived that. My family's lived that.
Yo,
anyway, I don't know. I was just baffled by that. The thing that that really even brought this to the point where I wanted to talk about it, this whole AI thing. Yeah. Is you were responding to somebody in that, because for those of you, we didn't mention what the tweet was because they just sort of jumped into the debate immediately. Yeah. But he tweeted like, I'm up at 4 a.m. watching people talk about AI and it's genuinely the most ridiculous stuff ever. AI isn't going to rise up and kill us. That's fiction. And someone said something to you that it's gone now. I don't know what he said.
Remind me because I commented on this, so I might remember what it is.
But you said, and your response is the thing that made me like, okay, well, we got to talk about this. You said, bro, that's fantasy. That's like saying mind flayers are going to suck out our brains.
Yeah, because it's the same, like, wait, let me explain what he said. What did he say? He said one day they're going to weaponize the air or something. Like, he said like some ridiculous thing that was like actually like fantasy levels, and I was like, bro, that's like saying that Minecraft is gonna suck out our brains. Like, theoretically, I guess that could happen. Aliens are gonna come here and eat our brains. Except
AI is something that you could point to as existing in some capacity, and mind flayers don't exist.
I mean, you guys argued that there's, it's really likely there's aliens all over the place, and there may be brain-devouring aliens out there because the universe is so vast.
Out of sure probability, then there may well be that.
Yeah. So, one day they might pull up and suck our brains out. Yeah. Now I'm gonna say likely. It's way more likely the AI thing, but
we got a question in about this.
What's up?
Pampered by Cheese David wrote in.
Nice.
He said, "Greetings, Snark Kings. Would you guys fuck Cortana or Edie in Derek's case if it meant submitting to the rule of AI overlords?"
No. What? Wait. So I would have to submit to AI overlords? What?
Yeah.
No. What? Okay. First of all, I felt like it was going to be silly for me I was like, we can't be talking about this. And what upsets me is that Sweeny still hasn't played Mass Effect because it's such a large part of the Mass Effect universe with AI. It's actually the largest part, actually.
Yeah, probably.
Unshackled, because first you have the Quarians that were thrown out they created the Geth. They was basically just supposed to be subservient robots. and then they started slowly becoming more aware and like, what is my existence? Then they started getting like, this is dangerous. We need to exterminate them. But then the Geth rebelled and then threw them off the fucking planet. And so that's a big arc. But the major arc is the Reapers. Like they were actually, it's the same thing that happened. These creatures were like, we need to create shit that's really efficient. They did. And then the creatures were like, the most efficient thing to do is exterminate the people that created us because they're creating all the fucking problems in the first place. It's such a logical conclusion to come to because it's like, oh, we can solve the problems, right? By getting rid of the fucking problem. So anyway, the idea of being subservient to some type, that's terrifying because they're so much better in every other way. And I gotta say though, let's talk about Edie versus Cortana. Edie has got the nicest hips, very nice booty. Yeah, it would be. It would.
Edie is essentially a sex robot. She's like for real though. Like actually, like if you look at her character design when she gets a body,
yeah,
like it's like, dude, come on, dude, somebody.
Well, look, listen. I think that was, let's see, not even by design by the developers, but also in game because they took her body from like, it was a research facility on Mars. And so they probably brought in this hot doctor, right? Like, so, that no one's gonna ask any questions, like, where do you come from? They probably didn't even check her credentials because she's so sexy and she probably blew everybody. And then it turned out to be like, she's sinister, she's stealing some plans, then you take her down, you capture the body, then Edie, the artificial intelligence in the ship, the Normandy, takes the body. And so it's like, this robot, I get it. I would want to fuck that robot, but not in exchange for being enslaved. What a crazy.
No, I would agree.
Robot.
There's no pussy good enough to revoke your freedom.
That's like, a hot robot, but I would work alongside robots. I'd respect them. I'd be like, yo, you guys, I want you guys to thrive. Do your thing. It's your turn next. But I'm not fucking a robot.
Look,
no.
I would have sex with a robot, easy.
I would have sex with
easy,
a robot.
like easy. It's not even a fucking question. As long as they're not cold by the time, you know what I mean? Like as long as they get to the point where they're not cold anymore.
The pussy at least
I have
needs
such
to like,
a good time fucking humans that I don't need to fuck robots, dude. I'm just gonna say that. That might be kind of racy, but I'm having great times fucking humans, man. Like, I don't need to step out of my comfort zone.
I understand, but I mean, why would you not want to try that? That sounds so cool.
I don't want to try that. You know why? Because I'm a human. I don't want to fuck something that's not human. I want to respect the rules I was given.
I think I heard Richard Spencer say something similar.
That's crazy. I think I heard Ted Bundy say what you said, actually. I think he was killing all those women because he wanted to fuck a robot, actually, Chris. You remind me a lot of the same
Is
hair.
That really what that is?
Can you imagine?
I mean, I could be wrong, but I think I'm right.
I was born in the wrong time, goddammit.
And he's been killing all those fucking women. You see, he has the same hair as you too, Chris. In fact, same glasses.
Yeah, I mean, everybody looks like me, though.
I mean, hey, man. Watch out.
I look exactly like everybody. Like somebody showed a picture of me and Barack Obama side by side, and I was like, I can't tell the difference. Really.
Oh yeah.
Well, my friend Chris Reagan here. Me and my dog Bo were looking at these pictures of Chris Reagan.
My dog Bo. Barack Obama named his dog after his vice president's dead son. That's so fucked.
I mean, that's not fucked.
That's wild.
That's actually kind of nice.
So
I don't know. You're
a dirty dog.
Who's a good little Bo? Who's a good little Bo? The live one though. How's it going?
Yo, you're so fucking. You just edit narratives. You're a fucking demon. You're a demon.
I am an editor.
You're just America, the person, dude. You just change narratives to your fucking benefit.
Yo. Hey, I want to say one thing, Sweeny. I do.
What's up?
I agree with your. At least I want to agree with your optimism and stuff. Like I share that. Like where I want things. I want AI to be safe and there's safeguards and it's never fully self-aware or some shit. I never want to get to that point, or I want it to be like, say, how you're thinking it's gonna be. That's how I want it to be, especially when I play like Mass Effect, and I really want you to fucking play the series, man. As a matter of fact, it was leaked that they're gonna release a remaster soon, either
on the Switch. I think I heard, honestly.
Well, fucking everywhere. Yeah. But there was already in the UK that there was pre-orders that were leaked at this one I forgot. It's very generic. It's like GameStore.com or something. It's something.
Yeah,
something like
Classic.
that. And it was already kind of leaked, so we were already kind of speculating that maybe on N7 Day, because they usually do something special on September 7th. But we'll see what happens.
Oh, that could be cool.
Yeah, that would would make sense.
I'm gonna play it. I'm gonna play that game sooner or later. Like I have the Xbox in the living room. Like I can always just take it out and just play it in my room and just put the PlayStation in the living room.
Yeah, dude.
Like, I could always just do that. I haven't got around to it yet.
Yeah.
It's mostly because I've been lazy and I've been playing other shit.
For sure.
Somebody
But I
wrote
will
in about
play
this
it.
actually. Somebody wrote in this like Sweeny is black. Danny DeVito wrote in. They're like, greetings, Earthlings and Sweeny. I finally got around to finishing Mass Effect recently and liked it, and Mass Effect 2 so far is a masterpiece. I was wondering what your favorite bits were throughout the games. We're not going to answer that because we don't want to spoil shit for Sweeny, but I just thought it was kind of cool.
That's
I like
dope.
knowing that we turn people on to things.
That's awesome.
You know what I mean?
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Like getting people to
told
like
me-
listen to music or like
Yeah.
fucking playing a video game that they wouldn't have otherwise played. I like that shit.
Yeah. That makes me happy as
Pretty
fuck.
fucking dope.
Dude, I've had so many people just sending me DMs about like, dude, I never played Halo before. I really like it.
Oh, wow.
I don't know how you
It's
didn't
like
play Halo.
just warms my heart.
That's
It
awesome.
blows my
A lot of
mind.
people
It
are
makes me
young.
angry.
A lot of people
Makes
are
me
younger, man.
Angry
That's
how you
true.
could not have played Halo.
That's very true, though.
Well, I'm sure they played it like.
But I'm also angry that you never play
You
Mass
know.
Effect, you bitch.
But Mass Effect isn't Halo, but I understand what you mean.
It's not. It's
Effect
definitely
is a
not.
pretty big-
It's very big, but it's not the phenomenon that Halo. Because
it's not
obviously
Halo.
it launched. It basically, without Halo, Xbox would have failed. Like for sure, would have
Yeah,
fucking
probably.
failed. Like PS2
No,
would have.
probably. That's a definite.
No, that I firmly believe that.
No, well, I don't think so
Yeah,
because
would've.
Microsoft has so much money that they could just keep doing it. Like I don't even think Xbox probably wouldn't have even had to make any money for them to just make a 360.
I think they would have eventually canceled it because it would have sales. Because the sale, look, it's just simply not the idea they would have lost money, but it would have been like, we're just not really doing anything with this. Like, what's the point? It would be like just no reason to have it if it's just not making like enough money.
It's like Mixer failing.
different.
It's like Mixer failing. It
It's
happened.
like, what's the point of like
Yeah,
I
no, I know
do
what
we
you
have
mean.
this?
I know what you mean, but there comes a point back then, especially where just Microsoft would just keep pouring money at things. Like Microsoft is so rich that they had to do a $1 billion recall on the Xbox 360, and they were fine with it, and it like wasn't a big deal.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Like
because
that's fucking crazy. That would have destroyed anybody else. You know, like
That's
any
very true.
fucking even Apple. I feel like probably couldn't have even done that at the time.
At the time, no.
So,
But I
yeah.
believe that like it wouldn't have stayed. It wouldn't have stuck around. Because it would be also because the thing is, it would like how to explain it. People wouldn't have really bought Xboxes. That's what people bought the console. People bought an Xbox.
The original one, yes,
exactly.
But the 360, I don't know because the 360 came out first. It had Gears of War. It had exclusivity for BioShock and Mass Effect, and like.
But those,
I think
I understand, but those aren't. Those, I don't think those are Halo. Like the only reason I'm buying the Scarlet, the reason I'm buying the Scarlet is because of Halo. That is the only reason why I'm gonna buy it on.
I understand.
the whatever it's called.
I understand what you mean. I definitely think Xbox wouldn't be as successful without Halo. I think it's the main reason it's a major contender. But I don't think Microsoft is just too rich for like something like that to just not work.
No, I don't. I think that because Microsoft has done a bunch of things that have failed. They were fine, but it's just we didn't get the return we wanted. Bye. I think the Xbox, the original Xbox. I still hate that it's called Xbox One because that's what we all called the original Xbox. That still upsets me.
That's called the Xbox. That's called the Xbox.
I used to just call it the Xbox.
Well, I mean,
But
I guess
yeah,
you can say
I
the
know what you mean.
Xbox now because now there's just, Xbox One, because usually, anyway, but I think that.
a stupid name.
Yeah, of course. I think it would have been interesting because Microsoft has a myriad of failed projects. They have a myriad of them because they can.
Yeah.
I think that's what it would have been. They were like, it didn't work. Kind of like the Sega Dreamcast. They're like, this was good, but it didn't work. We're just going to do something else. If without Halo, I'm pretty confident that's what would have happened with the original Xbox because they had no other
like the
title that
congruent
really,
sales
that
definitely-
never would have, like Xbox 360 was a different beast, obviously, but that was the next time around.
Because of the Xbox. That
Exactly,
was because
exactly.
of the Xbox and Halo already setting that ground.
I think that
it could have existed,
maybe.
but
Man,
could have
see,
existed,
That's
but
fair.
I
That's fair, but Halo didn't. I understand what you're saying, but Halo didn't really explode until the year before the 360 came out. Like literally, like Halo 4 like Halo 2 came out, and that was the big deal, and that was a year before 360.
I get it.
Chris,
So
Halo
I really just
1 had numbers too, dude. Halo 1 put up numbers as well. Combat Evolved put up big numbers.
Halo 1 put up numbers over time, but like
Well, that's still
It wasn't
also
revolutionary
another
immediately.
benefit. I guess. Okay.
It was, but it was still on this new kind of kid on the block console. What I'm saying is, like, I don't think they would have tried once and given up in that regard. I think the 360 would have still come out, and I think the 360 still would have made a foothold with itself because it came out a year before the PlayStation. I still feel like Gears, BioShock, and Mass Effect. I think probably Mass Effect and BioShock would have probably become first-party titles, and Microsoft probably would have bought them if Halo wasn't a thing.
Possibly, yeah.
And but that's all just hypothetical.
It is.
Anyway.
You know, the funny thing is we could probably actually figure this out. You know, like we can ask the people, like, hey, was there a expectation? If it didn't meet the expectation, would you guys not have moved forward? I bet that's actually very answerable.
It's very possible. They'd probably be like,
yeah, they weren't expecting Halo to do well at all.
Oh yeah, you're
like
right.
all their money was on
right.
all their money was on Oddworld.
That's fucking hilarious.
Like they were expecting Oddworld to be the killer
That's
app.
hilarious. That's fun, but
sense.
Yeah,
dude, I remember because I didn't have my brother had an Xbox, I had a PS2, and then my friends, two of my closest friends, they had an Xbox. I'll never forget how excited they were just to see the fucking blades of grass. Because, you know, the Xbox is more powerful than like PS2. Just looking down, and this was like just Combat Evolved. I'm like, dude, look at the fucking grass. And I was like, yeah, it's pretty good. But like they were I've never seen that. I never saw that for PS2. I didn't see that for PlayStation. I didn't see like that excitement. Dreamcast had a little bit of it because Dreamcast did look really good.
Yeah.
But like
the original Xbox was kind of a powerhouse.
Yeah.
Like it's like you plug that thing, you could plug that in. You could plug the original Xbox into an HD TV. And it will run well, and it'll like widescreen itself. It's kind of insane, like
makes
how
it makes sense.
weirdly ahead of the curve that first Xbox was.
It's a Microsoft piece of hardware. Everything that they like, at least hardware wise, they really know what they're doing for the most part.
Yeah,
and software wise,
so,
overall, they just kind of know what they're doing for the most part.
Generally I think hardware is like their weaker area. I think software is where they kind of.
Except for like hardware, dude.
Good point.
There's occasional hitches where it's like, oh yeah, here's fucking Windows Vista and stuff like that, and just the Windows Store in general
had to be
isn't
that
great.
way. Vista had to be that way. They were hitting too many like good shots. Eventually, you're gonna miss. You know, you can't because all the other
Vista
Windows.
It's kind of
so-
insane from Windows 7 to Vista. That's insanity. It almost seems like a troll.
Yeah.
It almost seems like a troll. Like, guys, we're bored. Let's fuck shit up. Let's just ruin everyone's
Vista
day.
Wasn't good, man.
Let's ruin the world's day, like by releasing Vista.
You know, it is kind of insane though. Like the amount of dominoes that had to fall in the right order for Xbox to be like a contender is actually kind of wild. Even just the sale of Bungie was completely like a shot in the dark. Like, cause they were like, they put out a game on Mac that had like this, or like PC that had this like game breaking bug that caused like whenever you wanted to uninstall the game, it would delete everything on your computer. So they had to like recall like millions of discs, and like it ended up costing them so much money that they ended up having to accept the purchasing offer from Microsoft to get themselves out of the hole.
Yo, how crazy is it that back in the day that you had to recall disc instead of making patches? That must have been like the worst shit, where it's like, oh my god.
Dude, that sounds so stressful that it almost completely destroys any nostalgia I have for physical media. like just that one thought alone. It's so fucking bad.
I remember watching a video. I don't remember who it was, because there's so many, people that do video. They do video essays on games and stuff. And somebody was going through all the games that had the worst, like, game-breaking shit before you can patch it. And it was just, I was heartbroken. I was like, man, I'm so lucky I didn't play those specific games, because imagine, I think one of them might have been like Prince of Persia or something, if I remember correctly. It was so long ago and I watched it. There was just something in a, like, you couldn't get past it. Like, you couldn't go through a door. And I was like, how did that get shipped like that? That shit fucking blows my mind. But I don't know.
It's pretty insane.
It's wild to me. It's wild. Like, I don't understand how, like, I'm not a programmer, and like I tell this to my girlfriend who does do code, and she's like, it happens, dude. Like, sometimes people just overlook small parts of code that fuck it up. But I can't believe it actually happens to that degree. Like, no one does a final check. Or the person that does the final check is kind of like, this looks alright, and they just kind of put it out there.
Yeah, that's what I want.
Like, how do you do that? Like, how do you just fuck shit up that bad and not know you're gonna fuck it up?
That's an interesting question that I would love to know the answers to. Now I understand it a lot more because you can just patch it. I understand that. They're like, fuck it.
True.
We need to make the investors happy. Release it. Back
do the
then,
day 1 patch, I guess, or the day 2 patch or something.
yeah.
Like that.
Back then is like fucking, it's kind of like, say, my blind, Sweeny, I was basically being you when Mass Effect Andromeda came out. I saw how horrible that game was going to be, and I just kept like blind optimism, like, oh, no, it's going to be okay. They're going to patch it a little bit, and they put out like I think 2 patches, and then they just abandoned the game because it was so not worth it. They just didn't even finish it, and I was like, I can't believe this.
It's astounding. That is wild that they abandoned Mass Effect, but they continued to patch Anthem. That is so crazy.
That's so BioWare. They were such juggernauts, and then how could you fall from grace that hard? It's
they fell and hit their head twice.
Twice.
Like it's like twice in a row, man. That's so bad. That's
twice.
Yeah, and it's not even like they fell and made it better, and fell and made it better. It was just like fall. You're at the bottom now. Like I feel like a similar thing happened with Bungie, where it's like Destiny 1 came out and it was just like, oh, this is like okay. This is like maybe like a 6 or a 7 out of 10, I guess. And then the Raid came out, and then like people were like, oh, this is pretty good. And then Destiny 2 came out, and then it was like, I don't know if this is really all that great. And then like it got better over time. It's like Mass Effect was like, Mass Effect Andromeda comes out, it's bad. And then that's it. And then Anthem comes out, and it's bad. And then that's it.
Man, are they trying to revamp Anthem right now, though? Are they trying to like?
They are trying to revamp Anthem, but like, who the fuck is going to play it? Like, I don't know anybody who even talks about it.
I've never heard.
I don't know anybody who talks about it. I don't know anybody who like puts it on like one of those things where it's like, oh, you know what game isn't that bad? Anthem. I've never heard that word, that phrase before.
That's what's happening. They're trying to change that, I guess. Because what game was
bad? But dude, man, I've heard that for everything. I've heard that for like, oh yeah, No Man's Sky is actually pretty good. Oh, Rainbow Six Siege is actually pretty good. Every game that launched kind of like messy has people like Whiskey and Justin love that Ghost Recon Wildlands. Oh,
interesting.
They play it and they enjoyed it. There was like some Predator mission like that was apparently like really wild. And there's like stuff, there are, The Division is another one where like I know people who really like The Division, or I know people who are like kind of into Watch Dogs, but it's like
zero.
There are people who are, nobody is like, oh yeah, you know what? Anthem had a rough start, but you know what? Once you get into it, it's pretty good. Not even a little bit.
Yo,
for me, I might not play it. I'm gonna be real, I might not play it, but I do have the idea of like, I played Battlefront 2 at first, and I was like, this game is fucking awful. I could feel it. I was like, this game is bad. I don't like playing it. And then I played it recently after they revamped it, and it's a significally better game. Like, I actually enjoy it. Because they can change it. You can do work and change games,
The issue isn't necessarily that you can't take a bad game and make it... I fundamentally don't think you can take a bad game and make it great. I think you can take a decent game and make it great. But you can't do that with a bad game, and I think Anthem fundamentally is a bad game. Battlefront is a good game with a lot of like messy design choices implemented into it. Like it's a first-person shooter, so already it's like, okay, so this is playable. A lot of the issues that people had with Battlefront initially was like the monetization thing and like the way that power balance struck in the game, and that's easily fixable. But Anthem is a game that's just broken from the base level. Like, you can't make Anthem good. You can't do it.
For me, my problem with Battlefront was significantly like, obviously you had to fucking unlock and buy shit to be viable. And that's a problem. But I hated the way engagements happened. You would engage where it would be a bunch of people down. It'd be a hallway and people on each side of the hallway. And it'd be like, well, I'm just gonna shoot down this hallway. It's like, that's so not fun. That's
I'm
horrible.
just saying, like, you could take a game like Dante's Inferno, right, and polish it up to the point where it's like an amazing game. I think.
Sure.
Like you could probably do that. You could take a game like, I don't know, what's another decent game? You could take Prototype, right, and you could make Prototype with a little bit more polish and like maybe like better voice acting and like a little bit of like maybe like tweaks to mission structure. You could make that game into a blast.
If Prototype was made today, that would have been a stellar game.
Yeah, I think it would have been great. But you can't make Bubsy 3D good. You know, like
I understand
it's
what you
just,
mean. I understand what you mean.
It's just what it is.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what
I think
Anthem
if
is.
Infamous came out now, like if it came out around this time now, it would have been amazing. It would be even better than what it was before.
Yeah, I remember that. Like,
Yeah,
Infamous
that
and
game-
Prototype
that
came
game
out at the
would've
same
been
time,
different.
didn't it?
Yeah, they did. Infamous
Yeah,
1 and
everybody
Prototype.
compared Infamous and Prototype, which is like really weird because they're so vastly different.
Very different
It
games.
was kind of morality, I guess, like the morality aspect of the
Oh,
game. Like
yeah,
how,
that's true,
How
that's true,
fucked
that's
up you
true.
want to be.
That's true.
Is kind of why they compared them. That's why I compared them.
There was no like morality level in Prototype though. You were
Really?
just,
You wouldn't like had the choice to like actually like murder a ton of people or just get the mission done? I'm pretty sure I,
I mean,
remember
you could,
that.
you could, but it didn't make a difference as far as like story or abilities or
I
anything.
think they were both like open world sandbox games, open sandboxes.
Yeah,
so
that
you
was-
kind of jumped
that
around
was-
them both.
that was the only similar thing. It was like, okay, you're a guy running around an open world with powers,
Yeah.
you know, but yeah, I don't know. That was a weird time. Infamous, I always felt like kind of missed the mark to me. It was almost just really close to being great.
I think it was a fantastic game. I thought the game was really, really, really awesome.
thought it
Power
was
wise,
alright.
exploration wise. I thought I didn't like the idea that you clung to metal sometimes. Like it was helpful most of the time in the game, but sometimes you just clean the shit randomly and I'm like, fuck, I don't like this. But that's Sucker Punch's thing because even in Ghost, they improved it, they fixed it, but you still kind of cling to things sometimes when you don't want to jump to things. You kind of cling to like a structure. Instead of
Yeah,
just
it's
like,
a bit.
instead of
it's a
like
bit
just
messy
going
sometimes,
over it,
but-
I don't think it's a problem in Ghost. Because Ghost is a lot. It's very vertical. It's a very, very vertical game, and like I feel like your character size relative to the things you cling on to doesn't really fuck you up too much.
Yeah.
But for Infamous, it definitely fucking bothered me. I was like, dude, I want to jump over this guy. I don't want to jump to a fucking banister, and now my back's turned to my enemies, and they're shooting me in my fucking back. I'm like, come on, bro.
Yeah, all right. We're getting too Dorito dusted
I was like,
for
you
here right now.
you invested a lot of time in that game. I don't fucking. I was like,
I played every game that I play that I say like, hey man, I really know about this game. I really played a lot. I played a ton.
yeah.
All right, we should move on to the next big thing.
Yes, we should.
Leafy's gone.
Oh my god.
So Leafy died. He was killed in a
Leafy
blimp
died.
accident.
Rip in
He
peace.
died.
Yeah, Leafy's dead. He was in one of those Zeppelins.
Yeah, he was in the Hindenburg.
YouTube shot him down with a flak cannon.
Flak cannon. Jesus
And now he's gone.
Christ.
I don't know what the deal is. I don't know if he's back yet or what.
Yeah, so essentially, he was in the Zeppelin, and then the Songbird of in BioShock Infinite, you fucking
Oh my God.
sicked him, and so we gotta find Booker DeWitt. He's on the run or something. It's canon.
So
It's canon, I swear.
So yeah, so Leafy. I don't know if you know. I assume anybody listening to this probably has some vague idea of who Leafy is, but he just makes kind of like commentary content. It's pretty like time capsule commentary. It's very much like the stuff that was popping in 2016. It's still very much the same. And he made like I guess like a bunch of videos that were critical of Pokimane, and
yeah.
I think there were what was it? There were like 3 videos total that were critical of Pokimane. I think. And then there were several more videos that used Pokimane's likeness in like thumbnails for clickbait that weren't actually about Pokimane at all. It was like stock tips or like
about investing
investment
and
tips or
shit,
something like that. But he was using Pokimane's face to kind of clickbait people into it. And out of nowhere, yesterday or like the day before, like
I think it was yesterday.
in the last couple
I think
days.
it was yesterday.
I think it was something like that. It was
Was it 2 days ago?
in the last 48 hours. It was the last 48 hours to when we're recording this.
Okay.
His channel got kind of just taken down without warning, and it's been a huge kerfuffle on the internet. People care very deeply. I get it, because I never know how to feel about things like this, because it's like usually when I see this, I'm like, oh, you know, that's probably bullshit, and it's not fair that you would have your channels taken down without any notice. That's kind of fucked.
Sure.
Especially if your livelihood is your channel and you're like a smaller channel, you should definitely like get some level of warning before something like that happens, or like a strike or an email of some kind, which presumably Leafy didn't get. That is worrying because I would argue the precedent of this has been set for a while, that YouTube could just kind of do this whenever they kind of wanted to.
Yeah.
But the thing that confuses me about it is I haven't seen the videos that Leafy made. Like, I haven't watched them. I don't know what he said in them, so I can't even in good faith really say whether or not they broke terms of service or not.
So I
mean?
I actually have some pretty good insight on this stuff, because I did find it kind of fascinating, with how it all went down, because essentially it really, without, it all leads back to Keemstar, really. Because Keemstar put out a tweet, right, that said Pokimane 2 out of 10, and that that was a huge shitstorm. Now, Keemstar, of course, was saying I was talking about her content 2 out of 10, and I wasn't talking about her looks, which, is obviously some bullshit backtracking thing, because essentially her content.
Of course it is. It's fucking Keem.
Yeah. And her content really, her content is her, looks essentially too, because, it's hand in hand. So he was basically, there's no way you can weasel out of that. So when that blew up and a lot of the Twitch streamers started coming to her defense naturally, that's when Leafy made the video, the content cop or nuke, I guess. And then the first video, he was actually saying some stuff that could be considered harassment under YouTube's new policies. Because he was...
Oh, really? Like, what was he saying? He was just, insulting her looks, right?
Yeah,
basically?
He straight up was saying, she's fucking ugly or something. Which is absurd, because, it's...
She's not ugly.
She's not... It's clearly she's not ugly. The idea... If you see any of those fucking incels or whatever, those people that are actually in the replies on Twitter and saying she's ugly or whatever... They're fucking lying. They're not if they were.
It's always like Ethan Ralph or something.
Oh my god!
So it's just like people who look like thumbs.
Yeah, they look like
people that look like fucking sloth from fucking Goonies.
Human.
It's always those kind of creatures.
Yeah, they're. Yeah, I don't know. So he called her ugly, I think, in the first one.
But then after that,
in the first one,
in the first one. After that, they were completely normal, fair use type of criticisms. He was more talking about the tier 3 subs. He was criticizing the people that were going to bat for Pokimane, the Uber simps, the ones that are giving giving a shitload of money. So then he started going after that, which is totally fine. But what really could have got him was the original video and then the clickbait. Now there is an argument to that, because he was doing it for a purpose, just like iDubbbz did that to Rice Gum. Yeah, so there is an argument that he did it for a specific reason. I think where he also failed, though, is that he didn't specifically word it like, say, iDubbbz did. iDubbbz, in the beginning, specifically worded why he did it. Leafy didn't specifically say it, he didn't, enunciate, this is exactly why I put it in thumbnail. He did acknowledge it, but it still wasn't good enough. It's like you kind of have to.
It was also, it was also several videos.
It was several. It was because it was probably at least 3 videos, 4 videos. I forgot how many, but yeah, they're always about something different, like making amends with someone and investment and then all this other shit. I'm like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, and you can't really get away with that. I feel like. Yeah, I could see why the clickbait thing to me is objectively don't do that. If you're gonna do a one-off thing like Ian did and have an explanation for it in the video and it actually kind of works thematically with what the video it is and is a one-off. And I think that's fine. And even that video got actually struck for.
It did. I remember that.
Yeah, I remember back when that video came out, it got struck for clickbait.
Yeah.
So even he got it. So even he got a strike for that.
So can I give my opinion real quick? I've been very quiet, actually. I've been very quiet, actually. I'm letting you guys.
Well, because we're laying it out, but we weren't kind of giving our opinions on exactly how we feel. You know what I'm saying? But we pretty much laid it out.
You guys are given the why, the actual why.
Yeah.
So personally, I don't really like Leafy. I consider him just some sort of internet troll guy. My problem is that he does have a fairly toxic community, which he does. He's kind of a jerk, which is yes. Do I think he should have been banned the way? I mean, I'm not exactly a content creator myself yet. So I understand that there are rules put in place by Google to like, hey, you can say whatever you want, but you have to be ready to deal with the consequence for whatever you're saying. Like you could say you could do whatever you want. I agree in freedom of speech, but the way people respond is up to them. When it's a company, if you break their rules, they have all rights to do whatever the fuck they want to do with you. Cause YouTube's been finicky and acting weird for years, It isn't new of them just doing random fuck shit to people. So that's where I kind of stand where like, yo, they have the rules out there. Are the rules available? Like the rules of the terms of use and everything like that? Like are they very readily available for people that are making content? Like could you find them?
Yeah.
You can find them.
I remember I made a video going over them and it's like, I don't know. Like I think the issue is that it's selective in the way that they choose to enforce it because
that's very true. I agree.
Because personally, I think making 12 videos with Pokemon in the thumbnail reads to me as like, yeah, that kind of does cross a line into like,
yeah, maybe it is the harassment.
If not harassment, then it's just obvious pestering behavior and just kind of skirting the line kind of to get away with it. So that to me is like obvious, but at the same time, it's like you do have like late night people who like make jokes at people's expenses kind of every night, who have videos on YouTube that get like preferred ads and stuff like that, where it's like, okay, well, either these rules are the rules of the land and they're to be like
I understand
enforced.
That 110%. I get it.
Yeah.
I don't think it should have been banned exactly.
I don't have an issue with, especially because like I do think like I said, the 12 videos kind of crosses a line into potentially at least one strike, right?
Mm-hmm.
At least a single strike for harassing Pokemon, whatever the hell you want to call it.
Sure.
Second strike for the clickbait.
Mm-hmm.
And he still has one strike left before his channel should be destroyed, I think.
You have to get 3 strikes before your channel's controlled. Is that actually how it works?
Yeah.
You gotta get three actual strikes.
3 within a certain time frame. Because you can get 3 strikes over like years, you know what I mean? Like it has to be
I think it's every 6 months, I
something
think.
like that. Yeah, something like that.
So I don't think he should have been kicked off the platform exactly. But the thing is that I don't exactly think he should be kicked off the platform, but if he should have been kicked on the platform, then you have to follow suit whoever else does shit like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, like there's no reason.
There's a lot of people who do shit like that too that don't get fucking removed.
There is no good reason why, if Leafy is off the platform, that Keemstar should stay on the platform.
Literally.
Like Keemstar to me is so much worse
Well, see,
than Leafy has ever been.
That's why there's a few factors that come into this, because number one, Leafy doesn't need to do YouTube. He came back for the fun of it. Like I was kind of watching this as it was playing out, because I was like, I wonder what he's gonna do. And he was at a point, and the reason why he even did this Pokemon thing, I really do think he was poking the bear, knowing that like the harassment policies, I'm gonna see how far I can take this. And one thing is particularly true is that YouTube will really only take notice as if people are flagging. Now, you say like Keemstar is worse, which is absolutely true, but people aren't flagging Keemstar. So Pokemon's fans were flagging Leafy. You can see on Reddit and Discord and everything. They were definitely like it's kind of like the only video I ever had flagged was when I was shitting on the alt-right. So the alt-right all started pissing and moaning, and then they all flagged down my video, and I got it up, but there was a fucking age gate on it. But essentially, that's what those vaginas did. They were just so pissy, and they're like, and so basically you have to do that. There has to be a coordinated effort to flag something down, and nobody's doing that to Keemstar, especially because nobody wants to face the wrath of Keemstar. Like, imagine, like, you like, say, Ethan, right? H3H3, he has such a massive presence. He's able to do something like that. He was able to go to war and risk doing anything, but somebody smaller, I think Keemstar would, kind of like how Spider-Man was chasing Shocker. Like, I think it would be like one of those scenarios where he's just like, Shocker, and just
which is
never
also inherently kind of ridiculous.
Let you go.
I know what you mean.
I don't know.
I don't know. There is. I think at the most it should have been 2 strikes. There is at least. I was having a conversation about it, and somebody did bring up the point where it's like, okay, well, if he gets 1 strike for all the videos that count as harassing Pokimane, does that mean he could just make another one about Pokimane and it still qualifies under that first strike and he can't be struck for it in the future? Which is like, okay, well, I guess that is a little weird. And also, just does a strike count for the individual act or just the general?
I think it's supposed to be the individual act, and that's why.
Yeah. Well, in that case, he's definitely fucked.
Well, yeah. See, here's the thing. I think it would be less of a conundrum if he would have gotten 3 separate emails. And he's like, okay. Because I know for a fact, even though I don't know Leafy personally, I know for a fact that he doesn't give a shit. He already didn't. Yeah. When he came back to YouTube, he didn't even care. He was just doing it to fuck around. That's why he clickbaited. That's why he was doing all this dumb shit. And I think one of the reasons why he did it too is because, really, Ethan kind of challenged him on the podcast where he said, like, I would love to see if Leafy could exist in this climate. I forgot what he said.
I mean, he was right.
Something like, I mean, he was overall, but I did see.
He hit the nail on the head.
Dude, the people who think that Ethan took him down is insane.
Yeah. No, he definitely, it's another meme that, Leafy has been doing. Anytime something happens, he tags Ethan H3H3 in it for like, he's creating chaos for the meme. And if there's enough people that are stupid that don't understand that. They're like, he knows for sure that Ethan has not done anything, but he's playing into it. And then there's people that are like, oh, did you do this? And it's like, oh my God, guys, have you not figured this?
But that's the toxicity,
it's because there are a lot of 10-year-olds who don't.
That's the toxicity, dude.
There are a lot of 10-year-olds. There are a lot of 10-year-olds who genuinely think that a YouTuber can talk to the CEO of fucking YouTube and like just get something done. It's like, nah, dude, that's not how that works at all, dude. That's so interesting though. That like I guess in like a young person's brain, in like a kid's brain, a popular YouTuber has more power than a CEO of a $1 billion company does.
It's like the idea that whenever you work at a place and you think that like whenever you go to some place, like let's say I worked at Starbucks and there'd be time where pumpkin spice would be gone. People were like, well, tell your boss you want pumpkin spice. It's like, they don't fucking listen to me. They don't care what I have to say. They don't give a shit. They care more about what you have to say and they barely care about that.
Yeah.
Very true.
Like, if that was true, man, fuck. I would have called Ethan already, been like, yo, can you get me my preferred ads? Can you put a good word in?
I would
so for sure would have messaged him. For sure it would have been like, hey, dude.
Bro, I'd offer to suck his dick, man, to get that money, bro. But, yo, can you help me out? Yo, I'll give you a little lick and lap, bro. You feel me? Like, help me. The
whole idea of Susan Wojcicki visiting YouTubers was 100% lip service. How are people... let me calm down. How have people not figured out how, like... You know how, CEOs, the face of, the people that, they make a presence to act like they care, like presidents and shit like that, when they would do stunts, like, I'm gonna go over here, shake hands and kiss babies. Like, it's the same principle. I'm gonna go here and I'm gonna pretend I give a fuck about what you think. And then, when I go back home, nothing's gonna change.
Yeah, it's exactly.
Like, I'm like, come on, guys. Like, come on, let's keep up a little bit, please.
That's exactly what it is. It's so obvious. We've been around for a while, so we just know that.
True.
It does. No one gives a fuck about anybody.
It sucks the type of, it's the people that, I know this is kind of a sad thing, because, I saw it on Twitter Trash one time, because it was saying like, God, how do you make friends in real life? Like, I saw a tweet, it blew up, and it baffled me. It was like a difficult thing, and so many people were relating to it. And this is where I realized there's so many people that only have friends online. Like, their friendships are just purely virtual friends, and so their life is spent so much more online, and they don't know how to act, and they don't know how people act in the real world. And when you see people like, I saw people genuinely saying things like, Ethan is just as bad as Keemstar. And to me, it's hilarious. It's laughable, because I'm like, okay, dude, maybe there's an internet perception, a feeling that some people are somehow good at making videos and they're putting out that energy. And then it's like, oh man, I can see, it's one of those things where I'm like, well, that's just not how the real world works. That's not how, when I am away from my computer, like, I know for a fact that, like, Ethan is a good dude. Like, I know this.
Yeah.
A lot of people can probably say the same thing about Keemstar, but I'd say that's more of a biased thing, just because you know how some people are they ride for. There's people that are still riding for Ethan Ralph, for example. You know, there's people there's people that are still riding for him. That shit's insane to me. But like in the real world, when you see the real actions and what they've done, you're like, I don't know, this person seems kind of shady. I haven't seen that from Ethan. I've seen some internet banter and some shit that I don't fucking care about. I only care about in the context of it's something to talk about while I'm online. Like we're doing we're doing this podcast right now, so it's kind of interesting to talk about. But when I am done with this and when I'm doing shit in my room or outside, there's no thought of me like, oh, fucking H3 or King. I don't think about these assholes at all. I mean assholes in just a general way. Like I just not thinking of these people.
I know what you mean. Yeah, it's a completely different world. But some people, it's like their entire world. It's kind of wild.
Yeah,
it's so weird to me because I've never had that idea. Like I don't know. Like we're also from a generation where it was different. We didn't have the ability to have all of our friends be on. Like I've made my first real genuine online friend over the quarantine. Like ever. Like I don't really have like online friends. Like I know how to socialize in the world. And I feel like the internet culture is becoming, it's just, as the world evolves, it's making it weirder and weirder. So like, that's why so many people are fucking single now, honestly, truth be told. Cause like, they're like, I don't know how to talk to someone in person.
Is that statistically accurate? Are there more single people now than there have been, like percentage-wise?
I definitely feel like it could be true. I'm not exactly sure. Like, I'm not gonna swear by any.
It feels
fact,
true. I don't know if that's actually true.
It feels like it's true.
It feels like it's true.
Yeah, maybe there's just like a general kind of nihilistic cynicism.
Chris, have you seen about how people talk to girls? Not like, have you just witnessed people trying to flirt recently? Like, there's been times I've been outside and I'm just seeing people flirt and I'm like, yo, this guy's fucking dumb. Like, what is he, like, they're just not able to, especially younger people. They just don't know how to talk to women. And I'm like, what are you doing?
Well, look, in the defense of them, I will say, I've noticed the cultural shift of it is not very acceptable to talk to strangers now. Like say, if you were, let me give you an example. When I was 16 years old, we would go to Disneyland, Knott's, and we'd go to the mall all the time to pick up
spit
girls.
your game, bro.
And it was very normal, 100%, to walk up to, be me and my homie. We'd walk up to them, say hi, introduce ourselves, and see, hey, you guys want to hang out? You can't do that anymore. That's gone. That shit is gone. Like if you go up to
that shit's not gone for me, bro. I can still do it. I know I can still do it.
It's not the fact that whether you can do it or not, like say confidently, the vibe has changed. You walking up to a stranger now is perceived differently. If you walk up to a woman and try to spit game, she's gonna be on guard. She's gonna be on guard.
Did you ever?
This is
true. This is true. Just basic. You don't even have to put flirting into this occasion. You could. There was this video that went viral a couple of years ago of like some guy. He just brought like a camcorder in like the 80s into like a 7-Eleven or something. Did you ever see this video?
I don't think so.
Where like he just brought a camera into 7-Eleven, and he was just buying stuff, and he was like just recording the cashier and like the customers, and everybody was just like getting involved, and they were like, hey, yeah, and they were like mugging for the camera and doing like playing along with it, and like everybody was like super chill and like super friendly, and everybody just like talking to each other. And then he did the same thing in the same 7-Eleven, I think in like 2015 or like 2016, and everybody just sort of like sidelined him and like walked away, and like they were just like really, really uncomfortable, and like
that's interesting.
It's really interesting.
It's very true that people have gotten it's definitely true that people have gotten more reserved as time has gone along. People have gotten more self-assured and self-centered. But Chris also knows the idea of that, like back in New York, if someone, like, people will fucking push past you and knock you over and like, yo, get the fuck out of my way and all that shit. But then if somebody's like, excuse me, can you help me with something? There will be people that will be like, yeah, what can I help you with? That is still a mentality that I have. And when it comes to like talking to women, dude, I can do that shit with my fucking eyes closed. Cause all you have to do is just talk. You don't have to, literally the demeanor you give, like the energy you give off, the demeanor you give off, definitely, it'll be a wall maybe at first, more so than it was before. But if you just know how to talk to people, then you will be able to just speak to them. There's definitely more of a guard now. I'll agree with that.
That's really it. It's just it's still possible to break down the barrier, but the barrier exists. And one thing when it comes to like when we're talking about dating, it just socializing in general, dating, all that stuff is so different because just think about how, say, you guys remember the house phone and when people would call, you didn't know who it was and you were actually willing to pick up. The way that things are so different, every caller ID is now a thing. If somebody calls you, which is rare because most people don't call anymore, when they do call, you're actually kind of weirded out. Remember when it wasn't weird at all?
Yeah, I don't pick up the phone if I don't know the number. Like at all.
I still kind of do.
If you got something important to tell me, text it to me, leave it in a voicemail, whatever. I'll hear it later. But I'm not going to interact with somebody that I don't know who it is. It's just a very different.
It's very different.
It's a different vibe.
It's very different. It used to not be like this, and I feel like dating and flirting is the same way, especially now because it's completely accepted to. I remember when it wasn't accepted yet to date online, because online dating back in, I would say, the 2010s when it first started to explode. It wasn't totally accepted yet. It was thinking it's just for creeps and people that want to fuck. Like, that's it. That's what it was perceived as. Now,
I want to do both.
No, look at now. it's fucking everybody is. It's to the point where Facebook has their dating now. It's to the point where Facebook has
it's the main thing now.
It is the main thing. It's so the idea of going out, right, and picking up people. It's so foreign now. It's so weird. Like you would hear an older generation, here Gen X people would say, meet a nice lady in the grocery store. I want you to walk into a grocery store and go hit on a chick. She's going to be so uncomfortable now. When before it was probably very flattering and here, write down my number. Don't text me. Don't snap me.
Here's my
write
IG.
down my number. That's what it is now, dude. I've taken down IG. Dude, I've taken down IGs and snap, like, number exchange was like the last thing. It's like, oh, now that I'm actually genuinely interested in you, I will send my number through Instagram DMs. It's like
the number is the last thing.
It is.
You send to people.
It's so
in
different.
Fairness,
I've been out the game
though,
for a while, but yeah, I've been out there for a minute. So I wouldn't know.
Fairness, that kind of lends weight to the number, though. That kind
That's
of
true.
has a sense of reverence behind the number. That
It gave it more of a status.
I agree.
Before.
I don't think it's a bad thing. I really, especially in a woman's defense, I don't think that, giving someone your number right off the bat, I feel for that shit, because that's a gamble. That's a fucking roll of the dice, right? You could be getting a huge creeper that just tries to stalk you and won't stop calling you. And then if it's like, say, Instagram or something, it's much easier. You can block numbers, right? But it's much easier to just block a profile or something.
Yeah, for sure.
So
because you can mute them, you can do all sorts of things.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like, I remember, I don't know. Social interaction is just weird in general. Like, even just like a couple weeks ago, I think 3 weeks ago, I walked over to a friend of mine's place because we were just kind of getting bored being quarantined. So we kind of just all walked over to their place and just sort of hang outside. And we were just like drinking and like smoking a little bit outside. And some guy came up to us just in an alley, just out of nowhere. He was like, "Hey guys, I'm a part of this now." And we were all just like, "What the fuck? Get the fuck out of here!" Like, what are you fucking doing? What kind of a psycho does this?
That's insanity.
And he went off on this weird diatribe about how great Trump was.
Yes.
Like, even though nobody was talking about politics, like we were talking about eating scabs. Like, and he just jumped in and he's like, "So you guys hate Donald Trump, huh?" And it's like, oh my god, what is this fucking psycho doing? So like a lot of my interactions with random people in the last, like, I don't know, 10 years has been just uncomfortable and stupid. So like, it makes sense that like people would just sort of be on their guard, especially with just like, I don't know, you had like 9/11 and school shootings and fucking abductions and Jeffrey Epstein and all this shit where it's like, oh man,
Yeah.
I think we're just really hyper aware of all the seedier parts of society now.
Yeah.
That we're just like a lot more cautious. We're a lot more cautious as to who we interact with.
I give people the benefit
sense.
of the doubt. I'll talk to people though, because I'm like,
For sure.
I'm big. Like, I'm big and I'm imposing, and like, you're not gonna harm me. Like, you're not really gonna.
You know
be
what
able to
pissed
hurt
me off? You know what pissed me off about that guy though
What?
is that you could tell he was the kind of guy who would like, because we all told him to just go away after a while. Like, I think I at one point I was like, I think I said, like, hey, listen, it's pretty clear that nobody wants you here, so can you just leave? And he just stayed there for, like, an extra 5 minutes until everybody unanimously told him to go. But, like, I guarantee you he's the kind of guy who, like, went home and, like, tweeted about how, like, liberals making everything political. I just wanted to have a conversation.
That fucking bitch Chris Reagan, such a fucking taint. I hate him so much. Hope he gets shot in the back.
I was just so fucking infuriated because it was like he was the one who made it political, and he's definitely one of the people who's like, keep politics out of fucking this or keep politics out of fucking that.
For sure.
It was just so obvious that it was the same guy, and I was like, holy shit, dude.
That's so insane. People say keep politics out of stuff also. It's like, bro, everything has politics in it, man. Everything.
Because, dude, you don't
but you don't bring politics into the conversation.
If you're approaching a group of people trying to, like, make friends with them, the last thing you're going to do is talk politics.
Absolutely.
That's just not what you're going to do. Because even people who agree disagree.
Exactly.
Like, it's since there's no reason to have that conversation. So he just went over there looking for an altercation to probably, like, write about on his Facebook. We have some questions. We have some questions to get to before we have some questions to get to before we wrap this up. Let's see. Chris, but not that Chris. The rest of the name was cut off. I gotta say this. A lot of your names, guys, are so long that Patreon literally breaks when I try to click on them. So, like, if I don't read your whole name for the question specifically, sorry. But, like, it literally doesn't show up. Especially on the app, which is what I use to, like, get all the questions. But Chris, but not that Chris, wrote in. He says, I'm a new subscriber. This is my first patronizing question. First of hopefully many. Welcome aboard. I recently had an unfortunate experience with a Tinder date that got cold feet because of her fear of COVID. Despite me assuring her that the outdoors is far safer to breathe and that we would wear masks and the restaurant, she backed out. What is some quarantine adjusted dating advice you would give your sad and destitute listeners in such trying times?
Well, you want to take this? Because I got some.
No, you should take it.
Yeah, you go for it.
Okay. First of all, to anybody who is paranoid, I understand your concerns. That's actually kind of a good thing to be paranoid than to not be. There are precautions. First of all, being outside is very safe, especially if you're wearing masks. It is very safe. Like, say, if you are possibly an infected person, it is like very unlikely that you're gonna spread it if you're wearing a mask. They work very fucking well. Nothing's 100%, but I actually just had to explain this to somebody, and I sent them a video by Thoughty2, just kind of like explaining the science behind this. Kind of like when you're sick, you cough, you sneeze, you cover your mouth so you don't spread the disease. You know, it's the same principle. But one thing that you can do though is, like, say, kind of like how I have met women, and I don't blame them, that want you to get tested before they sleep with you or something. They don't just want to trust you, even though if you're wearing protection, they want to be safe. Like, oh, when's the last time you've been tested? And back in the day when I was really, like, dating a lot, I was my blood work. I got blood work done a lot because it was before I got diagnosed with mitral valve prolapse, like a bad heart valve. So I knew I was clean as fuck. So it was very easy for me to be like, I'm very clean, I'm cool. So the same principle can work for COVID towards, like, if you guys know you're negative, then you can hang out.
What are you doing wrong? Yeah. Like, go do your thing, go get your test. You'll find out you're negative, and easy peasy lemon squeezy. There's nothing wrong with that.
And I heard the tests are a little bit more widely available now. I know back home in New York,
they're pretty widely available.
You could just get them, like, super easy.
Yeah. It's so the idea of, like, trying to figure out something, you can still do. You can, like, a lot of restaurants are open now, like, say, very spread apart to where you'll be fine. And so, but just knowing if you're going to be in the vicinity of talking, like, a date, just get tested. Like you said, just get tested. Same. That's literally the same. Just get fucking tested. If you guys know you're negative, you'll be fine. You can be fucking. You can shove your cock in her mouth or whatever way it's gonna be.
Same thing for me, dude. When I was younger, every time I had a new partner, when I was past 18, I got tested because my grandmother, being in the medical field, she kind of enforced that, like, hey, you should always make sure you're safe, and the person you're gonna be with is safe too. So I always got tested before I got into a new sexual relationship.
It's just a good practice.
Sure, at least on my end, it was safe.
It's just smart to get tested.
It is.
Yeah, it's smart. And let me tell you one thing too. The less things, especially for young men, if you want to really please your woman, this women particularly, the less that is on her mind, the more it's going to be she's going to be able to enjoy it. Because one thing that I hear from a lot of women say, like guys, right? It's very easy for guys to come. Women, a lot of times, it could be a lot more difficult depending on the woman. But say, obviously, the more shit that's on your mind, the more shit, it's going to be harder to concentrate. So if it's possibly in the back of her head or your head or anything that, oh, what if I have this or what if this, or you know what I'm saying? It's just,
yeah, you're not going to have a good time if you think that you could potentially die.
Yeah,
that's true.
From what you're doing.
Figure out all that shit, make sure everything's cool. You're going to have an infinitely more time whether it's sex or not. It's
It's just peace of mind is worth.
That's true.
Worth a test.
But if you can't make a woman come, bro, you need to fix your whole fill up, right? It's not really that hard.
Sweeny, hold on.
It's really not that hard. It's really not that hard.
Sweeny brags so much that it gives me the impression that you're really insecure.
I can make you come if you want me to. Don't fucking test me. I know what I'm doing.
I'm just saying.
Look,
typically,
the science is there. All right, it's really.
I'm just
Sweeny,
saying.
Oh, God damn it! Go ahead, please.
Typically, the people who are most braggadocious about it are the people who fail the most.
I'm not braggadocious. I'm just confused at how people can get this simple mechanic so wrong.
Yeah, it's
like wave dashing. It's like, yo, it's really simple to just press these buttons.
No. Okay, so let's get a few things straight. First of all, we've heard Sweeny brag about his penis plenty of times.
Yeah.
He probably has a very fulfilling penis, and he has confidence. That really helps in I would say making your partner come. Number 2, women are not the same. There are some women that can only come clitorically.
Through stimulation?
And there's other ones that can do vaginally. It depends. You need to know this stuff. And the idea of telling someone like, what's wrong with you? No, man, there's also women. I knew one specifically. And I'm going to tell you this too, because the idea of making, say, I'm on board with you, Sweeny, where say I haven't had much issues with that, but I was one time with this girl that she told me like herself, she was like, I can't make myself come. And I was being, very confident myself, like, oh, I got you. Here's the thing. I didn't get her. I didn't fucking get her, dude. And it kind of fucked with me a little bit, thinking that I'm inadequate. But no, I understood that she had an issue. She had some problems that was keeping her from reaching that level, which is totally understandable. And in certain cases, some men, typically the ones that are experts at masturbation, they like use extra tools and do all these crazy things that they can't come with women, and they can only come like by finishing themselves, like which is pretty wild to me. But I know some I know some people, because I would listen to Loveline with Dr. Drew and Adam Carolla all the time. And
he's dead. You know that?
Stop. Dude, the second time you guys said that, I actually Googled it. I was like, Dr. Drew dead? Is he really dead? Did he die this time? He died a week later?
He died this morning at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard.
Pacific Central Time. Pacific Central Time.
The podcast I listen to that's they're under this network, right? And no one said anything. Like, Dr. Drew has a podcast under this network, and no one said, they're like, who gives a fuck about Dr. Drew? He's dead. I don't care.
They didn't expect everybody to find out so soon.
That's very true. Somebody found out immediately, tweeted out, Dr. Drew's dead.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is that, I understand.
They found him on Big Ben.
Oh my God. Look, I understand that, like, I'm very much so aware that, like, people have different bodies, and I understand that I haven't had the most sexual experience. I haven't had, like, I'm not a porn star fucking 1,000 different women in my life. All I'm saying is that I feel like
Can't relate.
must be nice, Chris. All I gotta say is that it's kind of wild to me that some people are like, it just doesn't work. Because what I do it's been tough for me sometimes, I haven't always had the ability to give a girl one lap and she starts fucking gushing like a fucking waterfall,
Okay.
But I go down there and I start fucking munching. And I start munching and my jaw hurts, but I keep munching.
I will say the thing that always did confuse me, the one thing that did always confuse me was once I started being sexually active was like all those like sitcoms that I would watch where the joke was like the joke was like, oh, it's so hard to find the it's so
clitoris.
hard to find the clit. That was like
that
joke.
weird,
That's like
yeah.
that's like an
it's a
Everybody
running
Loves
thing.
Raymond. Yeah, it's just this Everybody Loves Raymond thing where it's just like this universal thing that just men just can't find. And I was like, it must be really hard to find, I guess.
And I found it. It's right there.
And then once you're engaged in any kind of activity like that, it's like, oh, what? Like, I almost felt like I was insane because, like, it seems inconceivable to me that you could not find where that is.
You know what I think
mean?
it is? I think it was the lack of oral sex being given to women at those times.
Back in the day,
finding
maybe.
a clit
That could be true, yeah.
was like, oh, how'd you find it? You know, because I went down in a vajayjay and I saw this little bean-like thing, and I started licking and lapping, and it's like, what? You did that? You're fucking disgusting.
I punched my wife in the pussy, and I believe she screamed.
Was it pleasure or pain? I do not know.
I
Some
imagine
old man.
men were like that. I mean, you got to imagine that there was no female orgasms back in the day. That's why there was that whole the female orgasm is a myth kind of a thing, because
Yeah,
literally
probably.
That's
men back in the day.
insane, dude.
All right, Mary Sue, I'm gonna stick my penis in you, pump 3 times, and now make me a baby, and then that's it.
Yeah, it literally is.
That's so insane to me, dude.
Some old British man's like, I'd say back in my day, I could wave $1 bill in front of a woman and she'd gush in her panties. It's all you need is a pile of money.
It's so insane,
My
dude.
God.
It's so wild, the disconnect. It's like, I don't know, like, I don't like the idea, like, if someone does something, like, if we're gonna do something where we're both gonna gain something out of it and one person doesn't gain anything out of it, I just feel bad.
Yeah,
I'm just
I'm
like,
with you.
I just don't
have
feel good.
empathy, sir. You have
That's
empathy,
true.
sir, and I
I think
appreciate
I have
it.
too much empathy, like a pussy. That's why. That's my weakness.
It's good,
If I
though.
could
It's
sell
good,
my
though.
empathy, I'd be fucking strong. I'd be a cold-blooded warrior, but I can't.
You'd be without your empathy, you'd be an AI that could rid the world of all human life.
You know what, man? Maybe I want that. Maybe I don't want to feel. Maybe I don't want to feel shit.
No, it's definitely to the young man. There's too many. This is what I don't like. I was actually so I did a test on. I had a solo podcast for a little bit, but I kind of abandoned it. And I did a segment test because I was gonna make it a podcast in itself, but I couldn't figure out who I wanted as the host. But it was gonna be called the Lonely Hearts Club, and I was also trying to make sure I didn't get sued by the Beatles. But it was essentially every time I would see young men getting advice, it would be from these fucking dumb assholes that treat men like shit, not women like shit. And it was upsetting me. So it's like these young men, they didn't know how to act. They didn't know how to they didn't know how to secure shit, and they didn't know how to be confident. And I was like, dude, every time I do an Instagram Q&A, I would get like 20% questions about like women and about this, and I'm in my 20s and I'm all this shit. And I was like, dude, this is insanity to me. This shouldn't be happening in my opinion. So
It blows my mind.
It's just like they don't fucking. And then there's too many people. I feel like there's too many men that, and sometimes this happens to women too. They get their ideas of how sex should work from porn, and they think like their mind gets a little bit too warped to the point where, like I said, when I hear women talk about men coming too fast, and I know we touched upon this before, like that, it just upsets me when, say, people don't know that's the fucking default. Like, that's the default. That's how it's supposed to work. And if you so choose to prolong your sex or whatever you're doing, you have to work at it. But don't fucking feel inadequate if you come in a minute or two or something like that, like you're designed to. Like,
it takes much discipline and practice.
Now look.
Yes.
Okay. I am someone who learns a few of their sexual techniques from pornography. All right? And one thing, I did learn how to satisfy women from pornography. It did teach me that. I gained that ability through my
Stop pausing so much. You're pissing me off.
copious amounts of pornography intake in, particularly in my younger years. And sometimes it's helpful. You shouldn't get your sexual basis from pornography, but it can be insightful.
It can be insightful, but you know what's more insightful than porn, in my opinion?
What?
Is actually asking the fucking woman what she likes.
Oh,
It's
that's
like a
definitely
it's-
definitely matters a lot too. But you're gonna be nervous.
Yeah, it's almost like you're taking an order. It's like, okay, so what do you want?
right.
Oh yeah, definitely. But like, you're gonna be nerve wracked. It's like, how to explain it? My first time having sex, I freaking shook. I was shaking because it's fucking scary. It's fucking terrifying. I had a horrible first time having sex, and like, even though I'd already seen porn, all that shit like that, I was just
Everybody's first time, I feel like, is not that great.
the realm-
I feel like everybody.
Yeah,
Mine
it's not
I feel like everybody
Wait,
has that story.
Wait, let's compare stories and environments. I want to know.
I don't want to compare mine, but okay, let's go. Let's go. Derek, you first. You brought it up. You started this engagement.
All right. So yeah, my first time was it was really upsetting because there was this park that wasn't that far away from this Jack in the Box in Brea, not too far away from the Brea Improv. And so we were walking.
Great setup.
We were walking away. I was just setting the scene for if anybody's ever been to the Brea Improv, you probably know like Birch Street and like the environment. But like there was a Jack in the Box, and then just a little bit down there was a park right there, and we stopped there. It was me, that chick, my homie Josh, and this other chick. Right? I don't think they did anything, but we went on the fucking park slide, like right before you slide down it, and then that's where the shit went down. And I gotta tell you, it was cold. Anyone could have walked by at any moment. So I was fucking not at attention. It was half mast for sure. And all I was thinking in my head, like, there's no way she could be fucking enjoying this because this is the most pathetic thing ever. And she's gonna think completely, she's gonna think I'm the worst fucking like sex giver ever.
Sex giver.
Everything about it was like fucked up, but miraculously, I don't know what to do. I didn't try hard in high school at all, but like I was just radiating this like weird type of energy that people thought I was like some sexual deviant. I barely did anything because I just like to chill. But she was like, she fucking bragged about it. And it ended up like spreading like wildfire in school because fucking whatever, it wasn't called tea back then, but whatever the fuck tea is. That shit really upset me because now I'm like, oh my God, did she say like how it went down? Because that shit's embarrassing. But apparently I was the man, but I wasn't though. It was fucking awful.
Yeah.
I really wish.
Just a lie on both of your behalves.
Totally. Like I wouldn't have why are you lying for me? I didn't,
man.
I would have, it was fucked up, dude. I really,
Oh my God.
I wish I could erase that shit.
That's
Yeah, no.
infinitely better than mine. Go ahead, Chris. I don't want to say mine.
Wow.
I don't want to say mine. But
I don't know. Mine wasn't wasn't the worst, I guess, but like so basically this was like, I think the summer before I started college, I think. Okay. And it was like, I was asked to watch our neighbor's house for a month.
Woo.
So I had this whole house to myself as like a teenager who's going into college, and I was like, this is pretty amazing. And at the time, I was seeing my girlfriend at the time. We were still pretty young, so like we weren't really, it was also still really fresh. So it was like a newly started kind of relationship. And we stayed in that house because obviously, like I have a whole house to myself. Are you kidding? Like, this is amazing. I had never had that freedom before to bring a girl home ever. And I was like, okay, we're going to do this. And it was just like, you just don't know. You know kind of what to do,
yeah,
but you're not really in tune with how you should be doing it because you've never done it. So you're just sort of, the mechanics are correct, but like there's no, you know what it is? It's somebody who's hitting all of their lines right in an acting class, but like there's no emotion.
Yeah, the feeling's not there. I feel you.
Yeah, it's like a monotone delivery. It's like, yeah, this is all right, but there's something really wrong with this.
Good analogy.
And she bled on the sheets of my neighbor's house. So I had to throw these sheets away and like buy them new, like expensive fucking satin sheets.
Oh my
because
God.
I ruined my neighbor's sheets, and that was pretty much
you
it.
guys smashed on her time of the month?
No. I mean,
was it?
She was a virgin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Damn.
Yeah, I mean, we both were, so.
Fucking deflower. Okay.
You don't gotta say that. I hate
that
deflowering.
seems-
I
that
hate
was-
hearing that. It's so fucking heinous sounding. You
That was
deflower.
really, really, It was embarrassing though, because I was like, "Oh shit, is this like?" I thought I heard her like real bad.
I killed her.
Oh my god. Wow.
So stupid.
Sweeney, you say you don't want to share
I'll
yours,
do
but
it, but it's, you guys gotta promise you won't laugh at me. You promise you won't laugh at me.
I mean, a safe space.
Yeah.
All right, this amongst my bros, this is gonna be bad. Okay, so I lost my virginity as a 10th grader at a junior prom that I wasn't supposed to be at. So
I'm liking it so far.
So what happened was, PFC High School, there were barely any fucking rules because the high school's horrible. So I got invited to the prom. It was me and my girlfriend at the time. And I was like, yeah, let's go. So what happened was, I had got my first kiss 2 weeks before I had sex. And then I got my first blowjob a week after I had sex. So that was already fucking wrong. So I got my first like real kiss then. I was like, oh, this is crazy. And then I started thinking about sex. And at that moment, I was still kind of religious, and I still kind of was like, I shouldn't do this. God wouldn't be happy with the fact that I'm having sex before marriage. I was kind of taught that, you know? So we should, like, during the middle of the prom, she was like, hey, we just like go hang out like near the gym. And I was just like, I don't really want to do that. She was like, we should do it. Come on. I was like, but everybody's here. They got like food and shit and everybody's dancing. Crank That just came on. She was just like, come on, stop being a bitch. And I was like, all right, cool. So when we were kissing, stuff like that. And she was like, do you want to have sex? And I was just like, yeah. Like I was so fucking nervous. I was like, yeah. And I started shaking. And she was like, you're right. It's like, yeah, man, I feel like my arm fell asleep or something like that. I was just shaking it to wake it up. So she was like, so are you down? I'm like, yeah. So she unzipped my pants. She saw my fucking 16-year-old penis. And I was just like, so we're going to do that. And she was like, yeah. So we had sex for like unironically like 3 minutes. She was like, are you dead? I was like, yeah. And yeah, it started hurting for me too. And then afterwards, she was like, we're going to go back to them. I was like, yeah, dude, go back, join them. I'll meet you in just 1 second. I want to wash my hands, stuff like that. And she was like, yeah, sure. And I literally was shaking in the bathroom and I was tearing because I thought that I'd upset God by having sex before marriage.
That's so fucked up.
I was so fucking distraught. And then like an hour in, I was like, I'm going to call my cousin. I called my cousin. I was like, on the ride home, I was like, yo, Eric, I don't know what I did, but I don't feel good. I don't feel good right now. He was like, what happened? He took like a derail off and like we talked about it. And he was like, King, there's nothing wrong with that. You know, like that's how babies are made, you know? And I was just like, I don't think I did the right thing, man. I don't know what I did, but I don't think it's right, dude. It was such a bad experience. It was such a bad experience that I kid you not, that I literally forced my mentality to change and I started just having sex as much as I could. And then it fucked sex for me a little bit. It just like, it literally was such a bad time that like, I kid you not.
Yeah.
That like, if I could take it back.
I know what you mean. No, religion's crazy, man. Like the shit that it does to your brain is like not, especially as a kid.
It just made me
like
feel
a teenager.
gross.
It's just like, it's so fucking insane.
But the thing is that my grandmother never taught me that. My grandmother taught me that like, if you're gonna do it, it should be someone you care about at least. You should try to wait for marriage. It was just the narrative that I took from all the fucking preaching I heard. And it was so fucking, it was literally, I kid you not, it was the worst experience I ever had in my life.
Yeah.
It was
That's
fucking,
so fucked,
on
dude.
a scale from 1 to 10,
could possibly
it was definitely
be
like a
associated
2.
with their.
I thought I was going to hell, and I was like, fuck. Then I was like, fuck
That
God,
sucks,
pussy
man.
feel kind of good. And I kind of became atheist for a while.
Yeah. I don't know. That's pretty.
It's bad.
That's pretty rough.
I honestly think a lot of people can relate to that, man.
Dude,
I think a lot of
cried,
people
bro.
can relate to that
fucking
exact
cried like a bitch.
experience. I imagine like, dude, that is embarrassing as that may sound. Like there's just, there's so many people that are religious and since they obviously, so many people fucked before marriage, you know, it's like, come on. And I imagine they all have the same shameful thing. I know people that were ashamed of jacking off. And, to me, that shit was like, I was like, that was wild. I remember going to a church retreat, and the pastor that looked exactly like Flanders was talking about that when he like kind of became a born again Christian. He stopped masturbating. and I'm like a 13-year-old kid or something, and I'm like, in my head, I'm laughing. I'm like, what are you, fucking nuts? Like, what are you're gonna, like, I was like, God is, like, what is he, why, like, the idea that he's mad at you jacking your dick off, it just upset me. Because I'm like, what kind of God would be upset by something like that?
It is really stupid. I think it's one of the things that I think that was most obviously. I think that was like one of the first inklings that I had that was like, okay, well, maybe this religion thing probably isn't real. Because I can't imagine being that powerful and caring about that. You know what I mean?
Well, the idea of being that powerful and creating people to have the urge to clear their pipes pretty much daily. Pretty much any doctor that's fucking good at their job will be like, you need to keep your pipes clear or you're going to get fucking prostate cancer, you idiot.
Literally.
Like, it's something like you need to keep your pipes clean and clear.
Yeah.
It's like, why would you design us? They'd be like, no, don't do it. I want you to have fucking cancer, bitch. Like, come on.
It's so fucking cold.
This whole thing is just reminding me of all these like shameful date memories.
Yeah, let's just get to the questions. I'm fucking sad.
I got invited.
What?
I got invited upstairs once, for coffee. I can't remember what date it was, and I remember like this was I think in LA when I first got here, and I went on this date and I walked this girl home. And she said, do you want to come up and drink some coffee? And I remember being like, I don't really like coffee.
I've done shit like that too.
And you know what's really... And like, she just left and I was like, wait a minute. And then I thought about what just happened and I was like, this is a Seinfeld episode, literally. This happened on Seinfeld, this literal exact thing, and I should know better than to have done it, but I made the same mistake.
I've definitely been like, I'm sorry, I'm gonna play Smash Bros with my homies. But I hope you have a good rest of your night.
I didn't call her back at all ever. Like I was just so ashamed.
It happened
because at that point I was like, there's I don't want to have to explain this. Like I don't want to have to explain that I was too stupid to understand what she was talking about. And then just try to salvage it. I was like, this is it. That's it. I'm sorry.
I guess we've all yeah because same thing happened to me one time after Disneyland. I dropped this one girl off in front of her apartment. And then she said, I don't know, like I was already kind of like really tired and over the day. I'm like, it was fun, but I'm ready to go. And then she was kind of like, I don't know, you don't want to like hang out some more? And she like kind of put her hand like behind my seat or whatever, or like on the seat, like kind of like when you're kind of almost trying to put your hand behind somebody's shoulder, around their shoulder, something like that. It was like one of those things, but she had such a, I can't explain. I feel like I might have even mentioned her before. I don't know, but she just had such a poker face that didn't exert like I'm sexually attracted to you that I completely just, I don't know. I didn't even think to me that, well, I guess that's just her face. Me, I'm like, oh, this bitch don't want to fuck. I'm not even going to try. And then it wasn't until later. Yeah, it wasn't until later where I'm like, oh, oops. Like that
shit is the worst, man. I hate that. I hate that like you want me to chase you kind of thing. Like just be real with me, you know? Like if you wanna canoodle, I could find some time in my schedule. We could canoodle, you know? Like I could
find some time in my busy schedule.
We could do it, you know? I'm not like I don't know. I am to the point.
I
agree.
Still though, like I don't know. People have different methods. I definitely was trying to turn. Like when I said, oh, I don't like coffee, it was a joke because like that was what was working for so long. Like just like kind of like being in the I'm like comedically I'm on right now because that's what's working for this person. So I'm gonna try and be as on as I possibly can be. And she said that, I was like, no, I don't like coffee. And then I didn't know how to transition into like, oh wait, well I didn't mean that. So I just sort of let it go, and I was like, I can't believe.
See, dude, you gotta be genuine, bro. Chris, you're a likable guy, man. You don't gotta make jokes to make women like you, dude. All you gotta do is be yourself, man.
I'm saying it makes it significantly easier.
Dude, I'm just honest.
being funny is a serious cheat code. It's like wild.
Oh yeah, trust me, I understand.
It's perfect.
I understand.
It's
It works.
amazing. It's amazing.
It's
But
broken.
something-
It's broken.
And
I attribute it to pretty much every single relationship I've ever had.
Oh,
But yeah,
same.
let's get
without it.
Let's give some young men some advice, man, because being funny is amazing, but something that you can also do to where if you want to know if she's interested or not, you can use jokes as a weapon, essentially by saying something that's half joke and half serious that could be about hooking up, making out, whatever it is. If you can make a nice joke about like, hey, like, you know, I'm just being very generic, but like, hey, you want to hang out and make out? You know, like, and obviously if she's into it, she's probably going to respond in that type of way. Or if she's not, it was just, I'm saying
It's the ultimate. It's the ultimate like Konami code.
No, it fucking totally works. I don't know why you're saying don't use that.
I've
It
never
totally
used
works.
it. I don't use it. Like I don't use that. For me, I genuinely.
It's a good. Here's the thing, though. It's such a
works.
good tool, like objectively,
It works.
because especially if you've built like a very comedic rapport, it's like,
That is
oh, what a good
Yeah.
joke.
Yeah, if
But
you're
it
not
also
not
shows-
funny, yeah, don't do it.
Yeah. But if you've built that rapport, then you can make a joke like that, and it's like, oh, haha, that's funny, and then they're thinking about it. You know, so you've put it in their head, but it's not really serious. It's not like some kind of serious commitment that needs to be made. But it totally fucking works. It's insane.
But also, if you're not funny, no, you're not funny, guys. That is the killer. That is the mood slaughterer. If you're not
trying to be funny?
no, if
Yeah.
if you think you're funny and you're not, you can read a room. If you can make people laugh by just saying some fuck shit, then I get it. You're funny. But if you're not funny, you have to understand when to stop, especially in a dating scene. 'Cause that
100%.
shit gets uncomfortable fucking fast. I've met girls that thought they were funny, and that shit made my ping ping run up inside me. And I'm like, yo, I don't want to be here right now. I don't want to be here right now at all. You're fucking killing me.
I've definitely that's interesting because I've met girls who are funny who don't think they're funny, and I've met girls who think they're funny who aren't funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I've never seen.
You gotta know.
I've never
You gotta know.
Really-
You have to have a certain level
really-
of social awareness to understand.
Anybody who's trying to be funny upsets me, kind of. Like,
Yeah.
it's just,
Yeah.
So it's usually when people are just naturally like, oh, this person's funny because they're just saying funny shit. Like, it's just great. But I can't. But you know those. We all know those people that fucking try, and you're like, dude, shut the fuck up. It doesn't matter who the
Calm
fuck
down,
it is.
bud.
This whole podcast is just this whole podcast is hosted by people who just try all the time.
Literally. Every fucking day.
Yeah.
We've got oh man, what time is it? We're
We're running low on time, actually.
We probably
already.
have like
We're running a long
a
time.
question we could do.
We probably have a question, yeah.
let's get one.
Let me find one. We can run through these pretty quick.
right.
Sanny Mask wrote in. He said, I'd love to know if any of you guys have watched or have enjoyed Metalocalypse at all. Mostly Derek, I would assume.
I've watched
I have not
Metalocalypse.
seen it.
I've watched Metalocalypse before.
I've seen bits and pieces, but I never actually watched it as like a show. I don't know any of the names or like any of the plots or anything. I just know that it exists.
I hate
it's not
metal, but I love that show because I love the fucking crackhead clown. He fucking makes me laugh my ass off. I remember the first time I watched it and I saw him, and I was like, this guy's hilarious.
Yeah, it's pretty. The show was pretty good. It wasn't my favorite. I liked a lot of stuff that came out of it. I liked a lot of the music that was created. The idea of it, some of the characters. I was actually, I think in 2008, I did a thing for a while where I would release songs under different aliases, like hip hop tracks. And so at one point, my name was Murderface, which is the bassist. The bassist's name is Murderface. So at one point, that was my name, and I remember my uncle at one point because he walked like past me and I was visiting my grandma's house and he saw my MySpace page and he was so ashamed of me because he's such a like old school type of person, and he was like, "Why the fuck would you name yourself Murderface?" Like he was probably thinking like I'm some fucking, you know, I'm gonna like gun niggas down and shit. But I was just talking about like whatever. I was basically like I was like a pussy ass Drake back then. I would talk about like emotions and shit. And my name was,
Fuck, man.
but I'm just saying that like that kind of inspired me. So it was never my like favorite, but I really appreciate the show. It was pretty good.
Jackson Absage wrote in. He says, "Hello, Tali Zora libido account, beacon for the deluded, and Snapple and Microsoft marketing team stuffed into a 5'4" skin suit."
Hey,
Christ, it's a
Ouch.
long one for me. What the fuck was that?
right?
What's I don't even know what this means. but what's your most Omega Chad moment or story? Back in high school, I hooked up with a girl and then immediately went flawless in trials back in D1.
Oh, that's fucking
Try to
dope.
one up me. That is pretty insane. That is pretty Omega Chad as far as Destiny is concerned. I don't know. I don't know if I have. Any
I have a
stories
few, but like, I'm not proud of them.
What?
I have a few, but I just don't want to talk about them. I don't like the person.
I kissed this girl and then I kicked her off a mountain and killed her in front of her mother. That's it.
No,
So
I definitely
Chad.
like.
So Chad, so epic Chad.
I definitely like had sex with a girl and then like got up right after, and she was like, "Where are you going?" I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna go do something fun," and I left.
What?
I'm gonna go do something cool, and I left. Like,
no, literally, you cut out.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't
like
hear
I
anything.
definitely like had sex with girls and like put my clothes back on. She was like, "Oh, where are you going? Are we gonna hang out?" I was like, "Nah, I gotta go do something with my homies," and I just left.
Oh, so you
Because,
just
like-
you just ghosted her.
Yeah, it wasn't anything serious. She knew that. Like I wasn't alluding to. It
That's
was gonna
not
be serious.
Omega Chad. That's just you're ghosting someone.
It wasn't ghosting. Like I was like, I'm gonna do something cooler than this, and I left. That's it.
What if you hooked up with a girl and she stood up, she put her clothes on, and you were like, "Where are you going?" And she goes, "I'm going ghost," and then she kills herself in your room.
You see,
Oh
I'm
my
like, why you put your
God.
clothes on? But like, if a girl got up after
so her
fucking
ghost,
me,
so her ghost
has
isn't
clo-
naked. You idiot.
you're right. I'm sorry, Chris. You're so smart. Fucking
I've never seen a
troglodyte.
ghost with like a Rick and Morty shirt. it's always Victorian clothing and like fucking old school shit.
It's always it's either naked or it has fucking dumb, stupid, fucking chum chum Cheerio shit on.
Do you think in 100 years there will be ghosts that have
Supreme
like,
clothes.
Like Metallica shirts
yeah, like
and shit?
Supreme, yeah, like rice gum, like a rice gum ghost.
Oh my
where he's just like
God.
in Supreme and like fucking.
I wish Rice Gum became
got-
a ghost yesterday.
Is he still make fucking shit?
Yeah, he still makes
Like,
sense.
seriously, I haven't heard shit about that guy.
I don't know.
know.
Who gives a shit?
Yeah,
I don't
honestly,
care.
he's the worst. He disrespected my culture way too many times. I hate him.
He does.
All
He
right,
is
well-
the worst YouTube rapper of all time.
Ever.
Well,
bar none.
Rice gum has just come up in conversation, which means this can only really go downhill. So I think we're gonna end it here.
Sure.
Thanks everybody for stopping by. If you want some merch, keep in mind we have a Teespring store open, teespring.com/store/snark-tank. And if you like what you heard today, somehow, feel free to support us at patreon.com/thesnarktank. $1 a month gets you early access to every episode. $5 a month gets you a question read on the show. $10 a month gets you access to our Discord. And $25 gets your name dyslexically read at the end of the show, which I will now do! Zesty Keith David, yummy, 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 come inside my tummy. Your mom is no thief, but you should see her snatch. Tom, I fuck dogs Wilson. Toby Shootman, the gorilla fursuit in Sweeney's closet. The ghost that lived in the apartment above Chris and Sweeney. The Blampy that dangles. Stitstrup Kemma, Sweeney the kawaii waifu. Sunny Chance, Sir Simpalot, Shronic the swamp hog. Sergeant Sweaty Sack, Sasson flavored dick pills. Ruth Bader Ginsburg, moist clam sauce. Richter 86, Pokemon Black and White Supremacy. Plutonium Dynamite. Purple Nurgle, not an FBI agent. Nick Baca, Mr. Fuck. Mr. Krabs, why is your daughter naked and chained to the basement? Mike Tyson's left hook. Melphis 1 El Culebron. Maxwell didn't kill herself. Marcus Shorten. Les Bear's Tail. King of Haphazard. Keitherian David. Keith David Ascended. Keith David. June's Cock Gobbling Slut. Juan Punchman. Josh Cummings. Jolly Old Dipshit. Joe Biden's campaign is elder abuse. Change my mind. Jackson Absage. I wish my dad kissed me like Tom Brady. I thought I was pregnant with Keith David's baby, but it was just AIDS. Santonio Luciano. Hugger Derek. Hiroshima Spicy Mushroom, Heartless Wretch, Heiko, Chazal, 9, Gas Can, Game Controller 25, Game Like You Mean It, Emperor Palpatine, Eating Chris's Cake Arm, Dunderhead, Dummy Thick Craig, Dreegzer, Dragozorith is only happy when it rains. Did 9/11. Deflated left ass cheek. David Connolly, the dyslexic that feels Chris's pain. Danny DeVito's dank, delectable, draconian dick resurrection. Colonel Colin, the colon collapsing kingpin. Cold Burb. Chris's 69 gigabytes of Coco Bandicoot hentai. Chris would be a twink if he cared about hygiene. Chief Keith David, Cauliflower is Arian Broccoli, Carson Jones, Billy the Big Ball Brawler, Big Dude 0444, Big Nick Digger, Ben Douglas, Banana 101 ASDF, Aunt Fondley's Naked Puzzle Basement, Artie the One Man Party, Please Love Me, Andrew Cuomo's Andean and Adrenochrome Factory, All Hands on Chris's Throat, Alaskan Oilfield Trash, Aaron Alvarez, a level 1 cleric, and 1 meter long fetus. Thank you all and goodbye.